2024. Welcome to it.
It's like the second week in a row that we've decided that, well, one of the hosts, well, this time you've showed up. You're just working.
Yes.
Brandon decided,
Yeah.
I don't care if it's our anniversary. Fuck it.
I was sick as a fucking dog. As
I
a
know.
dog.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sick. I got my booster.
Oh, how long were you out for? Like a couple days?
I got it Friday early afternoon and didn't feel better till probably Sunday late afternoon, evening.
Wow. Wowzer.
Yeah, it fucking killed me.
So what
happens.
happened now? Dave, a little bit of strong wind and now you get called out onto the job? What's happening?
Buddy, I live for this shit. This is what it's all about. I'm in my work vehicle right now. I've been sitting in the same spot since 5 p.m. last night. It is now 9 a.m. in the morning. I started work yesterday at 2 p.m. And this is what I live for with this job, because this is what happens. The wind comes in. They were projecting all kinds of crazy winds, like gusts maybe hitting 70 miles per hour.
The wind comes in.
And the wind comes in. So now what happens is this, and I apologize, everybody. I probably sound pretty shitty, but I'm doing the best I can. At least I'm here. So we'll see what happens.
Was that a day? Yeah.
No, I'm saying at least I'm here. At least I made it to the place. You know, it's better than not being here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't a dig, I promise.
You bastards, you.
What was I thinking? So what happens is this. When
What
the
was I-
wires go down, go ahead, see.
Again, what was I thinking?
What
I
were
love
you
that
thinking?
question, but that's
I
fine.
don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm talking
I'm just
about you.
trying
That's your question. I love when you question your thought process. And what was I thinking?
I do that frequently. I don't always, I don't usually always genuflect it outwardly, but it happens. That's what I think,
Any chance that you can hang up and maybe get your dad on this call with us today?
As
Instead.
opposed to me. He might call. How you doing? Oh, I can't put him on. See, this is the thing. I can't use my phone at all. So, like, I have a voice message. I can't play it because the same device that I'd be playing the phone is what I'm recording. You guys wouldn't hear it. Can't play the voice message. It's from an anonymous Patreon person, too.
Ooh.
And can't play that. So that can't be done. But here I am. I'm sitting out here. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this very spot for. I hope to be working for as many continuous hours as I can, because what happens is I come in Saturday already, it's time and a half. Now, if you work Saturday and it spills into Sunday, you get into Sunday, it's double time. So I'm making freaking double pay, man. I'm making mad loot, and I got to keep it going as long as I can.
But you're on our time now, so we get a cut of it. I don't know if they informed you of that. Like now, this is Exploding Heads time, so we get like a piece of that action.
Yeah, I'll send you guys something.
Yes or no?
How's that? Yeah, Christmas money's coming. A Hanukkah present, a Christmas present. Even though Hanukkah. Wait, did it leave already or no?
Did it
It
leave?
left. It left. Yeah, it left. It hightailed it out of this fucking conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What's the date?
Did Hanukkah leave already?
Hanukkah
Is it
ended.
12?
It ended like a few nights ago. I think it
How
ended
many nights is it again?
Eight-
12
eight.
or no?
8.
8. Okay. Oh, yeah.
No, you're thinking of the 12 days of Christmas.
There should be
12
a
days
song,
of Christmas, 8 nights of Hanukkah.
Yeah, on the first day of Hanukkah. That would be a better. Doesn't it make more? Because there's not really 12 days of Christmas, but there are 8 days of Hanukkah. I think that song was stolen. I think that song was written for Hanukkah, and somebody said it is more mass appeal for Christmas. That's what I think. I don't know.
Well,
What were you thinking?
yeah, what were you thinking? Brandon,
I wish
did
I
you get a
knew.
chance to listen to the show? Because we did announce it, but I know that you already know that Heather and Scott and Dave were part of our anniversary episode.
I love that you guys replaced me so quickly. Nothing makes me feel better than hey guys, I feel like shit. I'm so sorry, guys. You're gonna have to go without me. 15 seconds later, you got 16 guests lined up. It's like
I just full disclosure. We had them booked before you even told us you were sick.
I know. I think you did. You fucking. You two Grandpa Joe it out of bed like Willy Wonka. Fucking did your dance, and fucking went to the chocolate factory and picked out your new guests. Fucking scum pricks.
Yeah, but it was your favorite people.
No, I was happy you guys were able to get some guests on.
Yeah. We had other people coming in too, but it was too little too late. Watson's still crying about it. I talked to him. I talked tonight to Watson for about 2 hours on the phone. Because again, I've been sitting in this fucking spot since, like I said, 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock. What is that? 16 hours? I've been in the same spot for 16 hours.
And you had to talk to Watson? Jesus.
He saved me. Well, the thing is, you can't look at a screen all night long. You'll get tired. If I kept looking at my phone, because I watched our movies. I watched the second half of Fire in the Sky in the car. Then I watched Predator in the car. And then I talked on the phone with my wife for an hour. Then I talked to Watson for a couple hours. And it was great. It was a great conversation.
They gave Watson more time than Irene.
Well, Irene had to go to bed. Woman had to sleep. She had no power either. I had to hook her up. So,
Watson got more time with you than Irene.
Watson was awake and drunk. Remember, he's 3 hours behind us, so I could talk to him at fucking midnight my time. You know? Yeah.
So isn't it fucking cold? Like, aren't you in the truck?
Yeah, but it's not cold out now. Like, it was kind of cold overnight, but like the weather, it's.
That was like 14.
Dude, this is what happened.
It was warm.
It's like a hurricane. That's what happened yesterday out here. It was a record high. It was like 65 or some ridiculous fucking high thing. And then it got cold, and that's part of the reasons why the winds did what they did. They were, this was something people have been preparing for 2 days. If you went to a store yesterday or Friday, it was fucking mob. Everybody was like getting ready to have no power. So everybody's fucking loading up on shit and doing everything they can do. People are straight up bugging out here, man. So getting their generators set up.
Bugging. Well, is that like again, not just because of what happened in Kentucky. I'm assuming because we had strong winds too, but I mean, I wasn't sitting on the truck all night or whatever. I just is that a carryover from the tornadoes that happened in Kentucky? I assume so, right? It just hit them differently than, I guess, what we got hit with, obviously.
Actually, the storms that hit Kentucky lifted up Kentucky, and Kentucky hit us.
Yeah. Big chicken buckets were coming in.
Wow.
Everything.
Big chicken buckets.
Do they still sell buckets? Remember those big buckets of chicken? Do they still sell them or no?
What do you mean, do they still sell them? At Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yes, they sell chicken buckets.
At KFC?
Fried Chicken. No, it's back to Kentucky Fried Chicken. They brought it back. Did you know that?
I think ours are still KFC, but I'd have to double check that now.
Yeah, they changed it back because I was watching football at my mother's house a few weeks ago. So it's the only time I really see commercials, and it came on a Kentucky Fried Chicken. They said, "I'm like, wow, they went back to it. They're no longer KFC. They're embracing their roots again." So I kind of like that,
Well, then, did they show you in the commercial if they had a fucking bucket of chicken?
I wasn't paying attention really. I just, because
I love KFC. I miss KFC. We used to have a KFC right by me, but it's now a Starbucks. Fuck that.
Well, that's crazy. I mean, no, a new one just went up a couple of years ago. I was actually kind of surprised that a new KFC was open.
Kids, get in the car. We're going out to dinner tonight.
Yeah.
A bucket for everyone.
No, one piece. What are you talking about? I give them like the dry. Here, you get the breast, because the breast. I don't care if you're a white meat fan. It's always dry as shit.
Breast's fucking nasty.
Exactly. Here, you guys have this.
I want a thigh. Give me a thigh or even an ass.
Thigh or drumstick, and then I eat, like I told you, I eat the knuckles right off the bone.
That was really funny. I ate the fucking knuckles.
I got a funny story about Kentucky Fried Chicken when I was a kid, and you guys might appreciate it. It has to do with my father. Now, we used to go to the movies, here and there, as a family, me, my parents, and my brother, So we had this little thing where each time we went to the movies afterwards, we went out to get something to eat. So we would take turns. Mom gets to choose this time, and there was like a rotation. So my turn was coming up. Now, a few days before we went to the movies, I see a commercial for something called Kentucky Nuggets. Now I'm like, well, wait a minute here. Kentucky Nuggets? I think Kentucky Fried Chicken tastes great as is. I'm not a big fan of Chicken McNuggets. This could be what I'm waiting for. I'm excited about these Kentucky Nuggets. So we go to this place called the Ground Round in Niagara Falls, New York, of course. Now, when we leave, no, we go to we don't go to the ground round. We go to the theater, which is on the other side of town, to go see the movie. Well, the movie ends. They're like, you guys want to go to the ground round? Because it was close to the ground round. It was a fun place. You know, they serve peanuts to you there. They would show like movies for kids, like right in the place, like on a projector. It was cool. But I said, no. It's my choice. I made a big stink about it. I said, I want to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. I want to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, you know, because I wanted these damn nuggets. So now, a big argument ensues. My mom gets pissed off. My mom gets so mad about it that my father brings my mother home. She exits the vehicle, and my father takes me and my brother to Kentucky Fried Chicken on the other side of town because I put up such a stink. So now we get to Kentucky Fried Chicken. We're waiting in line. I know, of course, I want to order what I'm going to order. And my father tells me, whatever you order, better eat everything on the plate, you know? So I said, okay. So then I get up to the thing. I go, it's not going to be hard. I said, I'll take a single order of Kentucky Nuggets. And my father goes, Dave, you can get those at McDonald's, Dave. He wouldn't let me order the Kentucky Nuggets. So now, here I am, what the fuck? This is the whole reason I'm coming here. And I go, well, I guess I'll take the 2-piece dinner right now because he threatened me. He goes, eat everything on the plate. So I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get the smallest thing now. I'll get a 2-piece chicken dinner. So sure enough, I order the 2-piece chicken dinner. We're waiting in line. My father comes up. He keeps behind me. He puts his hands around my neck. He chokes me like fucking Kane Hodder. And he goes, right in front of everybody in the restaurant. He goes, we came all this way for 2 pieces of chicken. And we've been laughing about it ever since. And I never got the fucking Kentucky Nuggets as a result.
They were probably really good too. They were probably like popcorn chicken. They were probably real crunchy on the outside.
Oh, it's probably just the batter. There's probably no chicken in it. It's just the batter that they put on.
Yeah, that's what the popcorn chicken is. It's just fucking little.
I think it tastes chicken. Yeah, I got something in there. It's
just chicken. Chicken skins, fried chicken skins.
You don't want to know what it is. What popcorn chicken is, because I know what it is. I'll just say this: it's the shit part of the bird. I'll leave it at that.
What, the ass?
Like the beaks and the hooves.
Nah.
Yeah, the hooves. What kind of demon chicken are you eating?
What do you say, the hooves?
The hooves.
Yeah, the hooves.
What the fuck?
Is it talons? Is it talons and beaks?
You know what's that little part between where the tail feather and the anus? That's where they get the meat for popcorn chicken from.
Oh, that's okay.
What you mean? Are you talking about the Pope's nose? That little tender, fatty piece of like Thanksgiving and Christmas. I jump right in there and I.
What the fuck is the Pope's nose?
That's what my grandmother used to call it.
No,
Pope's nose.
I'd be like, grandmother, can I have the Pope's nose, please, grandmother?
Grandmother.
Don't start. Don't start. I'll leave. I'll go get another fucking booster and get out of here.
I'll be doing this show by myself soon. I got nothing.
Can I get a bucket of Pope's noses?
Yeah, can I get the Pope's nose bucket? Yeah.
The Pope's nose. So it's like the asshole, but they try to make a light of it.
It's that juicy little tail, that really fatty thing that if you eat, you can't eat anything else because you're just so fucking. It's so rich and you're so full after you dig into this thing.
Wow.
I'm gonna look into this. The thought of more turkey will just make you vomit into the bird.
It's fucking disgusting.
Fucking turkey.
Vomit into turkey. The bird. I hate turkey. I fucking hate turkey.
It's so overrated.
It's disgusting.
It's tasteless on top of it. They're going to have a tasteless bird fucking on Thanksgiving and on Christmas. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
What do you guys do? Cornish hen? I get a little Cornish hen.
I like a brisket.
No, ham. We do ham.
Well, we do ham too. Ham too. Typically, Christmas we'll do both. But that's it. Like, I never have it any other time of year. Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Because it sucks. Because nobody goes to a restaurant. It's true. It's the most overrated fucking thing. It's tasteless. Nobody ever goes out to a restaurant for dinner. When's the last time you went out to a nice restaurant or out to dinner anywhere and ordered fucking turkey? Never. Because you don't want it.
No way.
Because you don't want it. You order something else because it's better.
You don't even want chicken, really, and to order in a restaurant.
Oh no, my family will order chicken. I don't. But
honestly, most people will tell you to avoid ordering chicken at restaurants because they tend to overcook it at every restaurant to be on the safer side.
That's okay. Safe is good. It's better than undercooking it.
No, but cooking it just right is much better than overcooking it.
Of course it is.
Turkey's like, yeah, if it's not dry, turkey, I don't mind turkey here and there.
I hate turkey.
But, I mean, I need cranberries or definitely, or gravy. That helps.
I love it when your favorite food is a food that you need other foods to drown out the flavor of.
See, you get it, B.
Yeah.
It's overrated.
Shut up, you truck-sitting motherfucker. See?
You Pope's nose eating motherfucker.
You eat the Pope's nose, I'm telling you, turkey will be on your fucking menu every night.
My mother used to call it the ass, and she used to eat it. She used to be like, save the ass for me. She never called it the Pope's nose. She didn't call it the rabbi's fucking yarmulke, whatever.
The rabbi's yarmulke.
I don't know.
New tradition at the house. Give me the rabbi's yarmulke.
She'd be like, save the ass for me. She'd eat the ass like a fucking animal too. She'd eat it down to the bone.
Oh wow! Your dad must have been just like quivering in his seat.
No, he'd be fucking. We'd be nauseous as hell. It'd be like, Jesus Christ! She literally ate the Pope's nose right off that thing.
I used to just suck the meat off the neck bone.
Ew, gross.
Like a corn on the cob.
I can't even think about neck bones.
It's
My grandma used to put neck bones in the sauce. She used to make her sauce, right, on fucking Sunday. And one time I pulled this thing out. I'm like, what the hell is this? I was a little kid. She's like, it's a neck bone. I said, neck bones? I said, there's no way I'm eating that fucking... I was appalled by it. Appalled. It was so bad it became this big joke in my family.
Better than having a bunch of neck beards in there.
I'll finish this in a second. I'll be back in 20 seconds. Hold on.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Isn't Dave so professional? Episode 164, and he's fucking doing construction.
Yeah. He's sitting in a car getting paid like triple time. I love it.
Making $3,000 an hour.
Oh, I realized where and why I watched Extraterrestrial before. And it was sort of for the show, but we actually didn't review it. Maybe I have to wait till Dave comes. It's fucking, who cares? I'll repeat the story anyway. A couple years ago, we were given a choice of 3 movies from somebody. And we weren't entirely sure what one we were going to pick. And I got an early jump. And one of the offerings was Extraterrestrial. Then it was the other one, which I think is the one we did with Ashley Lauren Carter. Which was
Carter?
Lauren. Yeah, sorry. What did I
Darling?
say? No. With her and a UFO.
Oh, Pod?
I think that's the one we ended up doing. Maybe not, but it was between. It was between Extraterrestrial, Pod, and then there was a third one, and I watched all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think we did the third one.
Well, the third one was that really boring one where it's like just 2 people talking in a car. They go to someone's their uncle's cottage, and then there's like an alien that like an alien thing that pops up in the shed in the back, and then it's all found footage. It's done really cheap.
Alien abduction?
Maybe that was it. I don't know, but those were the 3. Because it was wasn't. But we did that. We did Area 51 as well. So maybe it was that show. But Extraterrestrial was an option to do, and I watched it in prep, and I had the exact same reaction that I had this time.
Save it. Save that reaction, please. Put a pin in it.
Put a Pope's nose in it.
So do you think your mom eats your father's ass too? That was what I was.
That's what I was saying. Your dad's just like, we're gonna go. That is me later. That is me later. Can you ask him? Open the door and just ask, hey, Dad.
Did Mom ever eat your Pope's nose?
Put a little gravy on it, maybe. Oh, shit.
I want to break that down. Why would it be a Pope's nose? A Pope's head, I could see.
A Pope.
She's long dead. I'm never going to get the answer to this. She's long dead. you know what? My mom probably knows because it was on my mom's side. But my
you go.
dad was the one that always brought it up, and I would always say it, and he'd be like, "Shh," because I guess he thought it was also derogatory, like in the sense of like, hey, we're Catholic, we shouldn't be saying that. Whenever I'm like, it's the Pope's nose. Who gives a shit? I'd have to ask my mom and report back.
I'm curious. Yeah, please do. That's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, so we'll never talk about it again. in true form.
Pope's nose. I'll do it for Christmas. It'll be a reveal. The Pope and Christmas go hand in hand, don't they? Kind of.
I gotta say, Dave, like again, we brought it up, but I really can't believe like the traction on YouTube now is becoming pretty large in the sense of we're getting a lot more comments on YouTube for the people that are watching the show or simply listening to it, because I guess that's a big thing, even though it might be the video. The older episodes are not. It's just the logo because we didn't have the cameras going at that time. But we're getting a lot more feedback on the YouTube channel, and it's really cool. And
my thoughts on this are feedback doesn't pay the bills.
Feedback is great. Any type of interaction is fucking awesome.
Speaking of feedback, you guys ever eat the Pope's nose?
That's going to be the ongoing joke of this.
I ate the Pope's ass. How's that?
And
the Pope's ass.
Also, Jason Luxton, a shout out to him. He's, I think, a new patron as well, but he also said he reached out to you, Dave. But he also said that he thanks all of us for doing what we're doing. And he gave me some samples of some music because he creates electronic music. And he says, if you want to, like, if you're interested for if and when you make this movie, I can definitely help out. And he said for free, which I don't even know. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds great. But obviously, if there's, if we had a little bit of money, I'd throw him a buck or two and a Pope's nose, just in a little baggie, like for to go. No, but you know what I mean. But he sent me some samples, and I really got into them because some of them were just like soundscapes that were just like good ambient music in the background. Build, but then he also, the first sample he sent me, almost I could see it being the theme, like, how we always say that a good slasher or a good movie needs a theme, and not all of them have it. I felt like this had the foundations of being a really good theme because it's repetitive, but it builds. So I'm like, fuck, I like it. So I didn't ask him if that was taken yet or if it could be used or remodeled in a sense, but I really dug it.
I love it. Can you remodel it?
No, but
I love it. Can you fix this?
No. Okay, duly noted. But where I was going with it is that in case it was already used for something else, duly noted. I don't know where that came from. Duly noted. Your thought was duly noted. Now back to some reality here, and we're gonna. No, but I don't know where that came from. But I'm just saying, in case you used it for something else, that idea, that just the way that he built the theme and the repetition and how it sort of grew and then died out again at the end. That's what I like. I like that idea for the theme. That's where I'm going with it. So Jason, thank you for sending it over. I thought it was great, and I'm gonna kill. Duly noted.
You know what's amazing is that people haven't caught on to the fact that this whole movie thing was just a ruse to get money.
I wrote 4 more pages. So it's slowly but surely. Yeah.
Like
a
Jack Torrance over here. They're all the same page.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't say what was written on the pages.
Well,
the font is also at like 870.
All it says
Jason,
is I'll take a 2-piece and a Pope's nose. I'll take a 2-piece and a Pope's nose.
Yeah, 2 pieces of chicken, right? and a turkey's ass.
All Pope's nose makes Jack.
It's all on the menu. It's all on the menu. No, he sent me that thing too, but I should have listened to it while I was sitting here doing nothing half the night. Damn it! But I am going to listen to that music he sent. But I was thinking, number one, it's got to be better than Ari Lehman's music, which I knew. No one had to tell me not to watch 13 Fanboy. I told everybody a year ago, as soon as they chose Ari Lehman to freaking do the music for 13 Fanboy, I knew it was going to be a turd. That's all I had to know.
You know what? I'll tell you right now, it's not. It's a victim of its own. The production value is all right, and they got the fan service because they just phoned in friends to be in it. D. Wallace is in it. D. Wallace takes it seriously. So there's credibility there. The problem with it is their editing choices were fucking horrible. Just horrible editing choices. But the premise itself is not too bad. Like anything, it just feels like an inflated fan film and nothing more. But like it's worth a curiosity watch. I wouldn't necessarily pay for it. Or
would it make a
like
good
that.
double feature with Goosebumps?
No, Goosebumps is far superior. Far superior. But I mean, like, I will give Dee Wallace credit. She gave it her all. Like, she didn't like phone it in. It was a decent performance from her. It's just that they do stupid things, like when this celebrity comes on stage or Friday alumni come on stage, they put like a title card introducing them. You're in the middle of a movie. It'll be like C.J. Graham, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. You're like, why? And they do it throughout the whole film. And you're like, well, that's stupid, because the movie that this is made for, most of us, maybe not everybody's going to know who every one of these characters are, but for the most part, you're going to know. And I will say that Kane Hodder's performance in this is better than any of the Hatchet films. And I think because he makes a joke about he only gets to play the monster and never gets to play anything with any emotion. And then he delivers an emotional scene. At borderlines, I thought, I'm going to start laughing, I think. But I'm like, no, I thought he sold it. I'll give him credit, because you wouldn't expect that from him. Because I thought when they did it in Hatchet 2 and he has this crying scene, I'm laughing all over the fucking place. I think it's absolutely hilarious. There's no emotional weight to it. But I thought he did a good job there. So I'll give a little bit of credit to certain aspects of the film, 13 Fanboy, but ultimately it's a fucking mess.
Yeah, I'll skip it.
It's a mess. But I thought I would I try to be fair, and I'm trying to pull out a couple of positives that I noticed from it. And maybe someone will go, are you fucking kidding me, Christian? Kane Hodder was fucking horrible in that. I don't know. I was like, wow, this is actually like some emotional weight, but the pacing's off. The editing is fucking dreadful. Dreadful. And that's my review of 13
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And it's so funny you bring up Kane Hodder. The last thing I watched before we started this podcast, I watched that To Hell and Back Kane Hodder story on Shudder, because I was sitting there, I had nothing to do, didn't want to watch another movie. I watched a couple documentaries on YouTube, and I kind of got tired of doing that. And I said, I'm going to try something else. And somebody recently told me, and I'm sorry, it was on Patreon, and I forgot who told me, but they really were, saying that they really enjoyed that documentary and that it was emotional for them and everything. I said, I got to watch this day. I think I started it once. So I said, I'm going to sit down and watch it front to back. And I did. And they were talking about Kane doing serious roles and stuff like that. And then you come here and you talk about that. So that's kind of interesting. 13 Fanboy, I haven't been interested from jump. I'll tell you what, though, that Rosebud or that Roseblood, I hear good things about. Well, Alex said it was good. I haven't listened to his review yet, because by the way, listen to what do you call it? Listen to Bare Bones if you haven't. Alex is doing solo reviews now on the Skeleton Crew
naked.
Thing. So
he's doing them naked.
He's naked. Yes.
It's a double entendre. Bare Bones. And he's just,
he's naked.
He's talking, but it's just a close up of his cock for the whole fucking.
No, it's not a close up of his cock. It's a wide angle shot of his Pope's nose.
That's what I feel like when it's really cold, or like you first get it. Sometimes it's like my dick has just so many different variances of size, but sometimes you'll just wake up and go, what the fuck is going on here? Like, can you turn into a dick at some point today?
Yeah. It's the worst. Sometimes I show it to my wife and I go, can you believe that this is the same dick? Can you believe it? Now?
Sometimes.
The same dick that you love when we're doing our thing.
Can you believe that this was in your mouth 13 hours ago? This thing.
Oh, it just
this little Pope's nose, this little nub.
It's too
small. It's too small. But see, the thing is, mine quadruples when the action gets going. That's what
we know. We know.
Quadruples now. Quadruples. It's now 37 inches long.
No, it's not. I wish it were.
Best Buy has it on display. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
You know how big it is. I don't have to talk about it. It's not. I'm not even satisfied with it. Just like when we were here with Heather,
It's fine with
I
it.
said 9 is a great size to have. That's what I'd love, a 9. She said, well, it's a little too much. I go, really? I go, well, I know what I have. And I look down at it. I'm like, you know what? I could use a little more. And that would be a 9. I would love a 9er.
I can use a little more. I love it.
Yeah.
That's what I suggested. Like at some point, it'll be well past our lives on this earth, where you could just like add like a little extension, like just pop the top off, and then just like boop, like just snap in like a little extension.
I squeeze a little silly putty on top of it and stretch it out.
I'm like forcing it. You know, like when you have a tube of toothpaste, and you're just trying to get that last little bit of toothpaste down. That's what I'm doing, like to my dick, just trying to squeeze it. Like the head is like this big at this point. It's like a big mushroom, like a portobello cock.
Dave, I'm the same way. I'll look down. I'll be like, yeah, I could use a couple more inches. I could use a 5er.
Perfect.
Oh, man. Well,
Perfect.
the thing is this. Everybody can stand a few more inches down there and a few less inches on their gut or something. You know what I mean? There's
Exactly.
a little bit. I believe that. I believe that most people, almost everybody, could stand a few more inches there and a few less inches here. It's just the way it is. But hey, I'm not out to body shame anybody in the world except myself. I'll shame myself. I'll look at myself. I won't even look at myself like, oh, you look fucking terrible. You know what I mean? That's it, though.
Yeah,
I'm not out
it's
to
crazy.
shame it.
The only place I want humidity is like down there, just so that like it shows a little nicer. Like just because when it's cold and brittle out and whatever like that, it's like a turtle. It wants to hide in its shell.
Yep.
You ever flick it when it's really tiny just because you're so angry at it? You flick it right
I'm trying to wake it up. I'm like, get the fuck up.
Yeah, flick it. You're like, look at you, you giant clit. You're not even a dick. You're just a big clit, and you flick it.
So just start yelling at it.
You're just a little pope's nose.
Like I should fucking hightail it right off the roof right now, you little prick.
Man.
And that's our take on cock.
Cock talk for the week. We got our quota. So as I'm talking to Watson, I'm telling him what I'm doing. Right?
Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm good.
So this is going to help. Think about this. How good this would be for a movie. Maybe our movie. Because right now, like when I was talking to him, it was like 2 a.m. It was dark as hell here. There's nothing. There's no street lights. There's no power at these houses. I'm at one end, blocking the road, and then on the other end, like I said, about 50 yards down is another car, a vehicle doing the same. No, it's dark. We can't see anything. This is a great setup for a horror movie. A guy comes up and he parks and he's sitting here. And I started thinking, I go, how cool would it be if somebody comes out to kill, right? And what they do is, like the guy that's on the other end I just met, he's just a contractor. I spoke to him for 3 seconds. What if somebody goes into his car and kills him? And I'm over here waiting. I'm the only other person on this road that's on this road. And then I talk to him and he talks back to me. And I think it's that guy, but I don't know the guy's voice. I just met him. So this is a good setup for a freaking horror movie. I'm going to get killed.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, anybody can come out of the woods behind here and take us out. Maybe he's waiting for the line crew to come and he's going to take them out, or he's going to murder people in the house who have no power. It could be a monster, but it's kind of creepy if you think about it, don't you think?
We'll call it Blackout.
Came out of the woods. Yeah, Blackout. How about that?
Yeah, good call, good title.
Yeah, so generic. Blackout.
Very, very original.
Yeah,
it works. Look at titles. How many movies this year? When we get to our top 21, how many of those titles you think are great? Some of them are very generic. These days,
13
there's a lot
Fanboy?
of generic. Yeah,
So many
13
good movies
Fanboy.
this year, and you're watching 13 Fanboys.
I didn't watch it.
Out of one movie out of the 75 I've watched now.
Get back to watching decent movies. Stop watching fan films.
Yeah, I'm not watching it yet. I will watch
for
it. just
fuck's
not now.
sake, you.
I'm never watching it.
I need a couple to finish off my 25. I know some of the ones I want to
21.
25.
No,
Not
I want
20.
to. I want to do 25 more films. For the
Oh,
end
you
of
want
the
to do
year.
100?
Yeah, I want to kind of finish off at 100 is my goal. I've got.
I'm at 75 right now.
Yeah, so same with me, Dave. So we're tied. So
Wow.
I've got. Is the whole truth horror enough? That's a horror film.
The whole truth. Nothing but the truth. I've
What the
never
hell?
heard of it.
What is it?
I thought it was. I thought it was like. No, again, I'm going by memory. I thought it was
Oh,
like
that's on
Korean.
Netflix. That's on Netflix.
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on, the police are coming. Give me a second.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
He's getting the fire brigade. Is there.
They heard the plot line to the blackout, and they're coming to take you away. Yeah.
No, they're coming to check out his Pope's nose. We heard you over the airways. We got to see this thing in fucking reality. I want to see it quadruple in size now, or you're under arrest.
Yeah, I know what the whole truth is. Yeah, that's a horror film. I didn't watch it. I watched a trailer for it, and I was like, I don't know about this. I just didn't watch it. But
I've got that. I've got the Jinn because of Heather mentioned it. I think you've raved about that one too, or liked it. I think
I did enjoy it.
The beta test as well. I have to watch, which I heard is the one that I think was causing the controversy of is it a horror film, is it not? And Heather said she didn't give a shit, but Dave said I don't know if he watched it now and said he didn't think it was horror enough, or he didn't watch it because he was afraid it wasn't horror.
I did. I watched it. Okay. I didn't think it was horror. And here's the funny thing. 2 days after I watched it, I get a text from Watson saying, do not watch the beta test. It's not horror. He told me. I was like, well, too late, buddy. I go, I enjoyed it, but I couldn't watch that movie, and at the end of the day, it didn't feel like a horror movie. It's simple as that. Why, do you think it's horror, B?
No, I don't. I liked it, and I gave it an 8 out of 10, but I will not be putting it on. I will not be putting it on the list.
It's a good movie, just not a horror.
It's a very good movie.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's a very good movie. It's cool. I thought it was gonna be. I still had a feeling because it opened up and I'm like, oh, this opening is pretty gruesome. But then after that, it's really just more of like a really dark comedy satire.
Yeah.
Right.
And I got to watch that Ankle Biters one as well, just because of the rave.
I watched it. I watched it, and Jason Lloyd was wrong again. He was wrong about Old, and he was wrong about Ankle Biters. The other one, I have a feeling he's right about. I forgot the third one.
What was the first one? What was the first one before Ankle Biters?
Old. He said it wasn't a horror film.
Wasn't a horror movie.
Yeah, like when you told me that he said Old wasn't like, I don't get it. They're going to like this crazy haunted beach that's turning them old. Like that's horror.
Yeah.
I'm with you. He was wrong about those. There were 3 movies he said. One I agreed with, and the other 2 I did not. I was like, well, those are horror to me, So it is what it is. I enjoyed Ankle Biters. I enjoyed Old. They were both good. So, why you're like I said, I'm at 75 now. I have to watch 76 for sure, which is Antlers. And depending on if we're going to do it for the podcast or not, there's still the Advent Calendar and Silent Night, the 2 Christmas ones, and I don't know if I'm going to watch them or not, or what the deal is. Although Advent
what was the second one? What was you?
Silent Night.
Silent Night.
Yeah, with Keira Knightley.
That is a horror film because I know that Jason Smith said, "Oh, I'm watching Silent Night with Keira Knightley." I'm like, enjoy, but I was being sarcastic, thinking it was like a romance or something like that.
No, it's an apocalypse film.
I'll have to check it out.
It's like the Black Christmas. It's
and I've
taking a title and doing a spin.
And I've watched Advent Calendar twice. I took notes the second time just in case we cover it, but fuck, man. If I could tell people to skip a movie, that's the movie.
Wow.
But people are loving it, I hear. Right?
Talk about bad editing. I want to hear your thoughts on this editing, Christian. It is all over the fucking place.
Well, listen, I'm not the master of it. I'm just talking about, I really, like, if you watch 13 Fanboy, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That style of editing to me, it's really chintzy, and it takes away from the movie. I thought if they just simplified it, well, all you do is a straight cut or whatever, but they're doing all these. It was practically like the joke, like star wipe to this, star wipe to that. Now that's not what they're doing, but that's what it just feels so fucking amateur. I'm like, you had the budget, it actually looks okay. You got Dee Wallace, you got all this Friday alumni. You've pretty much made the ultimate fan film, if you will. I'm not saying it's the best, but the ultimate in the sense of like you actually got the people to be in it and whatever, and yet you fuck up with something. I don't want to say it's basic because that's what's going to make or break your movie, but that's what sinks the film, I think, is that style. So I will check it out. And this is Advent Calendar that you're complaining about?
Yeah.
With the editing? Okay. I'm interested in seeing it now. Even more so.
To me, it was a mess. It was a good concept, a good setup for a film. But man, what a fucking mess. Just no sort of logic and just so many inconsistencies and plot holes and unexplained
Wow.
shit going on to me.
What's going on in the world? I have to. I mean,
What's going
I'll have to watch it. I'll have to watch it, whether or not we do it here or not, just because everybody else seems to like it. And B, you and I haven't been on the same side of the fence in a lot of movies these last 2 years, so I don't even know.
You
I don't
know
even
what?
know
It's
anymore.
weird. I only have 2 more movies left to watch. I didn't. If I get a chance to see Antlers, if it pops up for rental before we do our show, I'll rent it.
It will. You'll see it.
But I only have Last Night in Soho and Titan to watch.
Oh, I was just checking that out. Titan is another one that was on my list to watch.
Yeah, those are my last 2 to watch. I haven't been watching anything of late. Just some rewatches.
I've seen both of those movies.
Yeah,
actually.
those are the last 2 that sound intriguing to me.
Last Night has definitely been split as well, because I think, Dave, you're in the I liked it. I just liked it, but there are people that have absolutely loved it. So and I've also read people that just don't see why people are digging it at all. So it's like, I guess it's no different than any of the mainstream films that have come out.
I
this
feel like
year,
it's the same thing
to be
with
honest.
Titan also. Some people are raving it, saying it's a 10 out of 10, and then other people are like, what the fuck is this movie about? I have no idea what the hell's going on.
I'm going to go on record now. I'm going to make a prediction. Number one, my opinion on Soho is I quite enjoyed it. No,
Okay. All right.
I did. Yeah, I liked Soho. But I'm going to predict that the 3 of us are all going to have the same takeaway from Titan. And I'm going to leave it at that. We'll find out in whatever, in the next month. I'm predicting, I know your guys' taste and I know mine. And I believe that of the 3 of us, am the most patient with this kind of movie. And I know my takeaway. I have a feeling that you guys are going to have the same takeaway at the end of the day. I'm predicting that now. We're going to be in unison on that movie. So,
All right.
Interesting.
yes, it's definitely an unusual oddball of a movie. Interesting, and there are some things about it which are quite cool. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to have a similar feel. I'll leave it at that for now.
Have
As
you
far as
both watched the
Watson,
night?
Who knows?
Sorry, guys. Have you both watched The Night House?
Yes, I
saw it
have.
at the theater.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I have a question about that. If you want to get into it, or do we want to save it? I watched it once. Really enjoyed it. I just have this question. Am I wrong in thinking that this is kind of like an idea of kind of like Final Destination, that death is coming back to claim her? Or did I misinterpret the whole damn thing? And death convinced her husband to try to kill her and to subdue that he was feeding this evil entity people that looked like her or wanted to, or am I totally off on this premise?
I don't think you're off on that premise, but I think there's also more to be found if you dig. And the reason I say this is I only saw it once, and it was when it first dropped. But I listened to a review from Jamie and Brian, and they kind of they really deconstructed it well, and it's good. It's making me a little more excited to watch it for the rewatch time, which is we are at hand now. This is rewatch season, so I am gonna have to check that one again.
Okay, because I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to oversimplify it, but I just thought that there was the initial sort of plot, and that's what I liked about it, is it kind of steered away and didn't go down the conventional route. It was using conventions and things that we're used to, but then totally going against them, and that's what I liked about it. I'm not saying it didn't fall victim to some of them, but I what I'm talking about is like a setup or whatever. And you're like, oh, I bet you anything this is what's going to happen, or I bet this is, and it never went any of those routes, which I really admired about the film. I just wanted to make sure I got the concept correct, because I'm like, am I understanding this correct? Maybe I'll ask the boys on the show and rewatch it, because I was very intrigued.
I thought you were pretty on point with those thoughts. Again, I only saw it once too. It's in the rewatch pile.
Okay. And I'm sorry. I guess sorry guys. That's kind of spoilery. So maybe I'll try to interject something. Maybe I'll write a note down to maybe remind myself to interject that there's some spoilers there. I apologize.
Spoilers? Oh.
Well, in case people haven't seen the film.
Yeah, you know what? It's a very deep, rich film that I feel like even even some of the things you said, like I feel like people can kind of, they won't be spoiled.
Good.
Meh,
Good.
maybe a little. Either way, I'm so damn excited about it being rewatch season now and freaking that top 21 show. I haven't been so excited about a show.
You know
I mean,
me, I
I
love
always
your
am at it.
shows.
The end of the year show is always great, but this year especially because I'll say it again, it's going to be so diverse. I think it's going to be, and Watson said it to me earlier tonight, I think it's going to be the hardest year to pick people's number ones. Like
Yeah.
legit. I don't know where
Yeah.
people are going.
I
Agreed.
gotta be honest
Your
with you, I don't
feelings
have a clear cut number one yet.
I have a
Yeah,
weird
I don't
feeling
think I
about
do
the
either.
number one.
I don't think I do either. I kind of put things that I liked during the year again, and I usually don't do a lot of rewatches, as you know from the past. But I think this year, at least 5, I'm gonna have to rewatch just to kind of get an idea of.
That's a fair amount. I might do a few more. I might do 10, but I won't be watching like all 20 films that I pick or all 21. But yeah, the reason why. The reason why I rewatch is because I'm looking for that number one. Like last year with Renapal, I probably gave it like an 8, 8.5 the first time I watched it. And then watching it the second time, I was just like, fuck, I love this movie. It's so great. And I brought it all the way up to 9.5. And I think that was the only 9.5 I gave. And, you know, this year, right now, on paper, I don't have any 9.5s.
Me either.
I have a lot of 8s, a good number of 8.5s, and some 9s. But I have 8s that I think could bump up to 9s. I have 9s that could bump up to 9.5s. You know, I don't know. I also got them that could go the other way, especially Dave, because Dave, like, over the last couple of shows has, like, made a few comments about a couple of different 2021s, and I'm just like, fuck, now I got to go back and rewatch this one because he'll say something. I'll be like, man, I love that film. And he's just like, he pointed out something that's like a huge, obvious, like, why the fuck would somebody do that? And I'm like, shit.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm like, it was such a good film. And I'm like, fuck. So it's on the rewatch list.
I've got 2 that were on my. Oh, sorry, D. You go ahead first, and then I'll.
I believe that I have five movies competing for the number one spot, but there are 2 movies of those 5 that I do not want to rewatch because here's the thing. Have you ever watched a movie and then afterwards said, I don't know if I could get the same feel from this movie if I watch it again? Because have you ever had like a movie like take you for a ride throughout the whole thing and then you're like, well, now that I know the outcome and that I know everything, and when I watched it the first time I was kind of on the edge of my seat, so to speak, but I know if I watch it a second time I'm not going to have that feeling again, so I almost don't want to watch these 2. That doesn't happen to you?
No. I think
No,
I can agree.
I'm kidding.
I can agree with that. I mean, I don't do it all the time, but like there's certain movies, like The Perfection was a perfect example, and I think maybe that wouldn't have been my number one, and it would have gone to Midsommar had I just let it digest a little bit more and rewatched it again and shifted it. But I love that feeling. I love what you're talking about, Dave, and sometimes that's what I do because I don't want to have it come down because my first view was so strong.
Yeah.
And again, a top 20 or a top list of the year usually should be your reactions to, and most people only watch a movie once. So
Correct.
Typically that would be your reaction from seeing it one time. And then that will change. We've talked about in the last few episodes how our lists may have adjusted a little bit based on rewatching certain films, after the year.
I'll tell you guys this. The only reason why I have one film in my mind that might be the slight front runner for number one right now is it's the only film that I've watched this year that that I rewatched the next day.
Oh.
The next day. Like,
wow.
I don't normally do that. I rented it. I watched it. And I'm like, oh, man, I still got 24 hours left on this rental. I really like this film. I'm going to watch it again the next day.
Nice.
So,
A
and then,
rental. Let's see. I'm curious.
no, look. I actually have been renting a lot though, because
you're not on Plex.
Yeah.
Because everything's on Plex.
Yeah, I don't Plex. Like,
Everybody's
Plex
got the Plex.
Plex has a legitimate streaming service too. You realize that, right? It's
Yes,
just
it
that
does.
it's just no different than Tubi or whatever. Maybe not quite the same content or amount of content, but I'm sure that will grow as well. So it has that aspect to it,
How is
as
this
well
not gonna
as.
how is this not going to turn into an issue where some of these where companies are going to be like, I don't want. I mean, how do you stop?
Well, no,
Because they can't see it.
There's legits. There's a legits factor, and then there's the BS kind of gray area that is more or less not legal. And they're only hosting the site in the sense of like they provide the site, they provide the services, they provide the content, which is all legit. But the people that are using the peer-to-peer aspect are simply sharing their libraries. So if you got a digital library, you can share it with X amount of users. One person, your mother, your father, a couple of friends, or a group of people. That's the gray area that Plex isn't really doing anything wrong. It's the users that are doing what they want to do with it, and that can
kind of like a
Napster or
Napster
be an
situation, right?
Yeah, but here's the difference. Yeah, but big difference. The difference is this. You cannot see what's on somebody's Plex unless you're their friend, and they offer to share their files with you. So it isn't like Napster where anybody who has it, anybody can download it or watch it. It's only specific people that they give it to. So it's a file share thing. And keep it in mind, Plex has been around since like 2013. It's been around a long time. It's just that more people we know
I've had it for
using
ages.
now.
I had it since 2012.
Well, there you go. So it's been around. But they're not going to get in trouble because they can't crack down on it because they can't see what people are sharing. And you know how many other things there are like this? There's like 3 or 4 other ones that are just like this. And people do them a lot. There's different ones. So they're not going to, I think it's going to be just fine with Plex. I sure hope so. Yeah, because it helps me out a lot with the new movies, you know, and with the, not even just the new movies, the movies, see, like Parker does it right. You know, he has all the movies there that only have a VHS and that are out of print that can't be seen anywhere. You can find it on his, which that's really good. So, you know, I think it'll stick around. I think it'll be fine. Plex. Man, there was something I wanted to get to about it too. Oh well.
About Plex or about the movies this year?
I don't know. About something. Again, I've been up for freaking 22 hours now. It's okay. You know, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Damn it. Oh well. I'll tell you what. We do have some. We have some questions to answer still. Remember, we were doing like one a show. I just have to find the damn things.
Yeah, one a show.
Well, or we can finish them. Well, here. There.
Well, good. I got to be off by 12 today. I do have to be off by 12. Well, so we have 3 movies to get through as well. I just want to make sure we get to those.
This is true. Oh, I got another one. I got another freaking fan. I got 2 things to play. I can't play them today. Today is not the day.
Why don't you listen to them and then just read them back to us?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, let's do that. Right.
Yeah.
I can't even find this email. Who sent us that email that had 5 questions on it? We were doing one a week.
That was Night of the Demons, Brandon, in case you didn't catch his reference there. Right, Dave?
It wasn't Night of the Demons. Right actress, wrong movie.
Linnea Quigley. Oh, Return of the Living Dead.
There you go.
Yeah, let's do that. Shit.
Oh,
I just knew it was Linnea. Yeah.
Yes. That you're correct on.
Hey, cool. Maybe if you're not sure next time, don't say anything.
I actually thoroughly oh my God, I can't even speak. I deserved everything you just gave me there because I came in so cocky. Oh, that was a Night of the Demons reference.
So you didn't know, Brandon. It's Night of the Demons. Actually, Christian, it's not Night of the Demons. You fucking Pope's nose, motherfucker.
I deserve everything being thrown at me right now.
Okay, here's our questions. I found them. I found the questions. They're from Jonathan. Now check it out. I don't know what one we left off at. So I'm going to read number 3. And did we talk about this? with the Friday the 13th lawsuit over, do you see the franchise undergoing everything Halloween and Chucky is, with possibly 2 different projects unfolding simultaneously?
I think we did
being
talk
a
about
bad...
this. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Number
if
4.
we didn't, we were talking about the possibility of a TV show, which is funny. I will just say something, Dave. Listening to your last episode of Watsy, Watson comes up with this idea for a show, and you are fucking floored, going, that would be amazing. And I swear we came up with the same idea on our show. Not like Watson's had obviously some differences, but it was like a Bates Motel. I think we've actually said the same phrasing, like a Bates Motel, like Welcome to Crystal Lake, where it shows like Pamela back in the 50s or whatever, 60s with Jason, but before Jason, birthing Jason growing up, what he has to go through. Birthing Jason. That was actually going to be the name of the show. That's my secondary name, Birthing Jason. And then going from there. But you could play with the timelines a little bit. But I tell you, if you listen to that episode, and everybody go listen to that episode, when Dave hears Watson's version of this TV show, it's like Dave has never heard one idea similar to it before in his life. He said, "Whoa, wow, that would be phenomenal." And I'm listening going, what the fuck? We've talked about the exact same thing in our show 30 times.
I thought we talked about it as a movie, but not as a series.
I think both. have come up as
so Watson series. Comes out and says, "Remember that idea you guys were talking about for a movie? What if it was a TV show?" And Dave goes, "Whoa!" Yes.
But
and this is
he described it. Yeah. Things he was talking about that were going to happen on the show and exactly what. And again, remember,
true.
my memory is terrible.
We know.
So even if something was once said before.
Except he can remember the Kentucky Fried Chicken story from 1983.
The only thing I honestly wish Watson said, and I think Naomi Watts should play Pamela, and you were going to, oh my God, that would have been phenomenal. I would have smashed my phone into pieces. I'm just telling you right now.
I know that you're.
I don't care who came up with the idea for birthing Jason. I'm not watching it.
Why?
Because I'm not excited for it. I'm not excited for it.
You don't think it's a good prequel of all?
I don't want to watch it. I'm done with Jason. I don't want any more fucking franchises. It's time to put them to bed.
No.
So bitter.
No,
so bitter.
I'm sorry. I'm not bitter. It's time to put them to bed.
They should never. Dracula's still alive, and all those other classics. Why
when's
they put to bed?
When's the last good Dracula film you saw?
I don't know. I got to think about that.
25 years ago?
Dracula 3000.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to put Dracula to bed. It's time to stake that motherfucker.
No, wasn't there just a Dracula movie a couple years back? Dracula Untold or something like that?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it should have stayed untold. No, I think it was that was well received, but I didn't see that actually.
It was not well received.
But they're still making them.
Well received. What are you talking? It was well received. I
love your reaction there.
I got so angry that no.
I know. I was like, oh, okay, shit. Okay, I take it back.
Maybe it was. I don't know, but I just feel like Gary Oldman's Dracula, and I haven't seen that one, but I know that one's really loved. That was
like 1990.
That was in the 90s. That's the last critically acclaimed Dracula I remember.
Okay,
well,
fair.
Put him to bed. Just like the last good Jason was 1986.
I like the remake. I just can't believe
the remake.
I can't believe
the remake was okay.
13 years have passed. This would be the year to do it. In 2022, it's been 13 years. Get ready for part 13 of Friday Jason. The 13th. 13th fanboy. Birthing Jason.
Without Jason.
He was born without a Pope's nose.
Oh my God! Put him back in. Like they just keep trying to stuff him back into her.
It's got to be Naomi Watts though that they keep trying to stuff him back into.
Yeah.
Oh man! Jason. Birthing Jason.
I'll give you credit. Good. That's the best part of the whole project. Is that title? Jason.
But imagine they would have to do that, like the Chucky series, because of he made a good point with that question, because they could have one thing with Jason in it and another thing with the Friday the 13th title with just the first movie.
Well,
So
it
somebody
depends.
could do Friday the 13th show with just Pamela, right? Birthing Jason. Oh, I guess you can't say Jason. Whatever. You could just see a baby being born.
Well, you can. It was in the original script. So if it was a Victor Miller project, it would be this. And a TV show might be the best way to do it. Because it's Pamela and it's Jason, and he has maybe the rights for that. So you're right, D, in that regard. And
Right.
then the movies could be, for Sean Cunningham or whatever, depending. But I think it's still tied up. I don't know if that's exactly how it's been divided still. Because at the end of the day, I don't care. I just want it done, and they could do it. I'm excited for it if they could tell a different story of something that we're familiar with. Brandon, why is that bad? Like the prequel has a bad name now because it kind of ruins the mystique. But if done well, I think it could be very interesting. I think it could be interesting.
It's bad to be because of the Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills thing. So that's not the sour taste in his mouth. That's what I think.
It's just I feel like there's no joy left in the franchises.
Well,
I don't want any
I'd
more
rather see
Freddy.
these. Well,
I'd rather see what?
well, okay. I'd rather see this than some other things, than another Alien movie that they keep pumping out, or another freaking. There's other ones that keep coming out. You know what I mean? They keep Amityvilles or Puppet Masters.
I don't want
things
any
like
of them.
that.
I would
Okay,
love a
but-
show. The original idea for the show was, I think, like what we were talking about from a fanboy standpoint, is if they could somehow combine or do different timelines. So I don't know if it's every episode shifts different timelines or every episode is a dedicated timeline, but you've got a prequel version and then you've got stuff that can tie all these stupid gaps that are in the films that that fanboys over the years have decided to create their own stories with or whatever, but show Jason between part 1 and 2 and part 2 and 3 and when he gets stupidly turned back into a boy at the end of part 8, like maybe you could fill in the gaps there. I'm not saying it's going to be logical or it's actually going to make a lot of sense, but I think that's better fan service and would be a great idea, and I think would work better in a show format than it would work in a movie. Because a movie, everybody just wants Jason to come back and kill again, even though I'd prefer Pamela. That's what most people are going to want. I want Jason in it, but I would really like a retelling of the Pamela story. So if that has to be the TV show,
I want Jason Smith in it.
well, Jason Smith can be in it. He could be in it with in all of his glory, and his new jacket that he just got, everything. He won't listen. He's only on episode 150. He says, "Well, where are you guys now?" I'm like, "Oh, you're only 13 episodes behind, so don't worry." He's like, "Fuck."
I like the disdain you have for his new jacket.
he posted it. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything negative because his girlfriend, fiance got it for him. I do not want to. It was a joke because it was good. But I'm like, if I want to say anything right now, I got to make fun of this fucking jacket. So I said
See, I
nothing.
don't even know about this jacket.
I said nothing.
Jacket. I don't
Well,
even
it
know
was a
about
Cobra Kai jacket, right?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I like Cobra Kai jacket. But let me back to Friday the 13th.
Like
Hold
Cobra
up.
Kai jackets.
I like Cobra Kai. Yeah, like back to
Friday
birthing
the
Jason.
13th. They could still make a Jason movie with Jason in it, not call it Friday the 13th, which they fucking haven't been doing for how many years now anyway? Like
Yeah.
a Jason Lives.
True.
Can't they make a Jason movie right now with Jason in it? Anybody can do it? Well, not anybody, but I mean,
Well, I
but
think
Sean Cunningham has the rights.
that was tied up still, which is why I don't know how the fan films get away because it's saying it's a fan film. I
don't know.
I love that logic, but I mean, the reality is that I think it was tied up because it was part of the franchise. And
Yeah, but I think Victor
it's tied
Miller,
to Friday the 13th.
Victor Miller has the rights to everything that Friday the 13th and anything that happened in the first movie, and Sean Cunningham has the rights to the Jason character, which evolved afterwards. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like a split. But again, I could be wrong. And B, what about Texas Chainsaw? You keep liking these Texas Chainsaw franchise movies. They keep coming out.
Yeah.
This new one's gonna
Right.
be fucking terrible.
Why? It
What
looks
about
good.
Jigsaw?
The teaser looks
I don't
good.
think it looked good at all.
What about Saw?
Oh my god.
Saw makes decent enough movies, and they keep going.
Oh,
According
he
to
didn't
you,
like
at
he
least.
didn't like the last one. He didn't like the last one.
If they don't go back to
Hoffman?
before Spiral, then I'm off the Saw train too.
Well, but they can still be done. That's all I'm saying. So why not Friday?
And
Why
Saw
not?
and Saw isn't even 20 years old yet, so that's fine.
I know.
Well, they have a Leatherface game coming out. The guys that did Friday 13th, that looks great too. That Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Yeah, did you see who was playing Leatherface in it?
I
Back
did
to him
not.
Again? Kane Hodder. Isn't that strange?
Well, I think that'd be kind of cool. From a
It's just
fanboy
strange.
standpoint, he gets to be another iconic serial killer or movie serial killer. That's great.
Why doesn't he just play everyone? Why doesn't he just be Michael,
Yeah.
Jason, Freddy, Leatherface, and they could just come out with like a different movie every other week, and that's all we get. It's just like
But that's not all we're getting. This is on top of the stuff that we're getting. This is why I don't see why there's a problem with it, because it's on top of all these new indie movies that you get. You can have fucking what's it called? Rental Pal 2, Birthing Jason.
No, there won't be a Rent-A-Pal 2 because 4 people saw Rent-A-Pal and 5 people.
I'm
saw
talking
Rent-A-Pal.
about those movies are going to keep coming out. So who gives a fuck if they make another Friday the 13th or Texas Chainsaw
I don't want to have
Massacre?
to hear about it anymore.
Well, you're going to.
There's a death escort. Is there death escort service too?
I would
can't
rather
believe it
watch a
Rent-A-Pal.
Death Escort Service movie than another
Then
Friday.
get the fuck out of here with that
Oh,
bullshit
that's
logic.
terrible.
Yeah.
Bite your tongue. That's terrible.
Bite your tongue if you want this
Man.
job. like this
There we go
job.
again, same movie.
Like this job? I fucked
Like
up the line
this
anyway.
job.
I'm
I
a
know,
fake
bite your
fanboy.
tongue, watch your
However,
tongue. I know.
I
your
am
asshole.
all for a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie too. Here's the thing. I thought about this in the car the other day. See, I was in a car the other day too, D, but I'm not for like 24 hours straight. But when I was waiting for something, I was like, you know what? Why are they having so many problems with this? And here's the thing. You say Nightmare on Elm Street, everybody wants Freddy. So they've got to have Freddy first and foremost. I'd say the best Nightmare on Elm Street way to go right now would be to work off the dream aspect, of course, the philosophy, and build the terror so you barely see Freddy at all or even know who he is until maybe the end. That would be the ultimate goal. If they somehow work the logic and the nightmare imagery and dreams slowly start turning into nightmares, and he's slowly building his way back, and we don't really know what's going on other than the fact that the film's called Nightmare on Elm Street, and then by the end, Freddy comes back for the final act. And he's still kept, but the downfall is you can't do that because now everything's got to be first and foremost. Just like, a song made nowadays, you got to have the fucking chorus coming out of the gate to hook people so that they stay and listen for the stream. It's like a horror film now. That's why Friday the 13th, I don't think we'll get a Pamela movie ever because people want Jason. People want Jason. They're going to want Freddy. But I honestly think if I was to try to tackle one of those, I would keep Freddy down to a minimal.
Maybe you'll get the Indian film from The Wall.
Maybe.
The Indian film from The Wall, you said?
An Indian, the Indian guy that Christian sees. We see an old country singer, but Christian sees
Wall. I'm thinking Pink Floyd The Wall. You said that Indian thing from The Wall.
From Friday 2. From Friday the 13th.
Yes. I still keep forgetting to go and look on that thing and do the Zoom and check it out. But dude, back to
if we care about this, why don't the listeners care about this? I don't care if you're driving. Pull over if you're in the highway. Just pull to the side and you research this and give us an answer because nobody's chimed in on this. And once again, I think the reason they haven't chimed in is because they don't want to tell you two that you're wrong.
Well,
and that I'm
going
right.
to find out definitively. It's going to be my Christmas present to you guys.
You know what the problem is? I genuinely don't care. I think they should take it out back and shoot it.
Well, that's it. I don't think anybody cares, but we need to care for this podcast. For this podcast. Look at Brandon's face right now. Beautiful.
I can't do it anymore. I can't keep talking the franchises. I'm done.
Okay. Well,
next year's year of the franchise part 2.
Good thing I'm retiring after our year-end show.
I got a good idea for Nightmare on Elm Street. And we might have said this before, because I feel like I'm biting off of somebody, but I can't know who to credit it to. But check it. Maybe Watson. How about a Nightmare on Elm Street movie? Because nobody wants anyone else playing Freddy unless it's Robert Englund, and we don't want him to do it now. So this is what they should do. A Nightmare on Elm Street should be rebooted. However, it's the same concept, except everybody has their own boogeyman in their dreams. So basically, all the kids on the streets' nightmares are coming true, and they all have different nightmares. So they die. But it's
a nightmare on It Street.
It's like Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that idea, but they've done that. They kind of did that. That's why when it came out and whatever, and I know it's based on his book, but remember we did this because it, I think, was written or was released in 1986 as a book. And I'm like, wow, it really feels like it tore a page from Freddy in a sense.
True.
And we thought that Nightmare on It Street, but I'm not against it. Yeah. And you'd figure with Pennywise kind of reestablished as a modern icon, that you would think that some of these older ones would come back. And it seems like Leatherface is the only one, even if it's going to be direct to Netflix. But I'm okay with that because it says more distribution. At least it's Netflix as opposed to like Tubi.
Well, don't forget about Chucky. Don't forget Chucky, and don't forget Hellraiser. They're coming out. Well, Chucky people
and Scream.
Are, for the most
Scream
part,
has a new one coming out in January.
And Scream, of course. So
when you think about it, yeah, B's going to be in hell.
I know, right? I love it. I love to see it. But it's again, why can't we have both? Yeah, why can't we have choice? Why can't we have great independent horror, the stuff that's going to come to the theaters, and franchise films?
My thoughts aren't going to change anything, and you are going to continue to have both. My thoughts on it, but I personally think that the franchises aren't really turning out anything good anymore, especially the older franchises. So I just think
it's so weird because I actually liked that Child's Play redo. It was a totally different take on it, and I actually liked the show. And the show is great too.
I haven't watched the show. I have enjoyed some of the later movies. There are exceptions, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I like Halloween. So I'm still kicking it. I'm still I know you can't stand them, B. That's the difference, I guess.
It's not even that. It's just like it's time to wrap it up, in my opinion. I mean, they're never going to wrap it up. No, but they're not. They're not. They'll come up with ways to make more films. They'll come up with some way.
That's okay with me. That's okay. We should get to this question, number 4.
H60 will be the next one.
They will. They will. It's not that. It's not ridiculous. They will do that. H60.
No, they won't. It's enough now.
Which is the chemical element for fart gas, I think, H60.
Perfect. He hotboxes his own mask, and that's how he dies. He farts. They feed him like Taco Bell or something like that. He farts, and it just wafts up into his own mask.
If I have to hear people talk about, like, oh, man, I can't wait. They're going to kill him off. They're definitely going to decapitate him. That's going to be so awesome. Oh, you mean like they did 28 years ago in that movie? It's going to be awesome now, but 28 years ago?
The stain that drips off Brandon's lips is fantastic.
I don't even think I hate the franchises so much as I hate the fanboys. It's like being a New York, New Jersey person. It's like Philadelphia fans. Technically, I don't hate Philadelphia teams. There's nothing. I could watch a Philadelphia sports team, but their fans are so obnoxious that you just...
You know what your problem is?
I'm jaded.
I can fix your problem right now.
Get on social media.
Like I do.
Get on social media.
There you go. Live life like I do, and then you don't got to worry about the fans anymore. Then you just it's like being a kid.
That's it.
You're going and renting movies again, and just keep talking about it amongst your friends.
I'm blocking Christian right now.
It's a win-win.
But dude, it was awesome when he got his head cut off in H2O, but they shit over it by bringing it back. Now, if they could cut his head off this time, and it truly is the end of that timeline and that thing with Laurie and him, then that would be awesome. I'd be all for it.
I think the woman with the iron survived, and she's gonna press him to death.
That poor woman.
She's gonna starch him to death.
You with that fucking iron. Okay, D. I know you said there's another question. What was the next question? Okay.
One this week, one next week. Number 4. It's going to be easy. It's always the same answer for some of us. Hold up. Number 4.
Friday 13th.
What is the one subgenre of horror that you wish to have the quote-unquote juice, the paranormal supernatural subgenre, suddenly got in the 2010s? Well, obviously, I'm going to say slasher, like I always say. because
As will I,
also,
and I know Brandon switches gears because it was always
I know.
slasher before, but now he switches gears. But just because we've had the ghost paranormal thing, I'm done with that now. So let's get back to slashers. And they could be. I don't care if they've got a social commentary. I don't care if they're just shits and giggles. Bring me them all so that I could judge and watch and then hit the mallet down and make judgment on them.
I agree with that. I agree with that
Sure.
answer. It's not. It's
Nice.
not like he asked what your favorite subgenre is. It's just which genre needs the juice back. The slasher genre is practically dead without the regurgitation of the old franchises. It's dead. There's nothing new. I saw one really good slasher film this year. One.
There's a couple.
Was it The Last Matinee?
It was The Last Matinee.
Yes, I saw it last night. It's on that Arrow streaming service, and I was very happy with it.
Yes.
Because it made no apologies of what it wanted to be. There's no commentary. It was a fucking slasher movie.
It was a slasher with a nod to just a love for Italian horror, particularly Fulci and Argento.
Yeah.
And it was so enjoyable. And the slasher genre needs that.
And again, the great thing about it, the reason why it might not get elevated is because there is no other level per se. It's that Love Note movie, which is all the level I needed. It was, and I didn't think it was ripping it off. I think it did a nice nod to it. It was its own thing with a nice nod to Fulci and Argento, like you mentioned, Brandon, but still without being like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like,
no,
okay, so there's some posters in there, but we're in a movie theater, so great. And they had multiple posters. Like I saw, the Raiders of the Lost Ark or Temple of Doom poster in the back in one scene. And I was like, oh, this is great. And it was just fun. And I thought
nasty kills.
Yeah. Did you see it? Did you see it, D?
I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't amazing. The thing is, they can make good slashers now. But the thing about the slashers now, I still don't see any as strong as the really good ones in the 80s, where I'm on board beginning, middle, and end. I like the characters. I like the storyline. I like the kills. I like the soundtrack. I like it all. We don't see that, but we do see good ones still. Like we do get one a year, maybe two a year, and they're fine. For me, they're usually like a 7, a 7.5, but they usually don't blow me away like I want a slasher to do. Like we could make one, I think.
If you found out that this was re-released and it came out in 1989, people would be blowing this left, right, and center.
No,
I really do think
happens in it. No, because in The Last Matinee, the first 45 minutes, almost nothing happens. There's you get a good kill, and then it's just people sitting in a theater for the longest time, and nothing happens.
There's a ton of slashers from the 80s that are kind of like that.
Yeah, they
have an opening kill, and
I thought they did a great job of setting up characters so that you cared about all of them, so that when a lot of them died, you genuinely cared. I think this is the best slasher I've seen.
Yep.
It's
going to be on my list. No question. I honestly think.
Yeah, very long time.
And I make no apology because it's a no apologies. It's like the same thing with Terrifier. Terrifier just wanted to be a very nasty slasher, and I think it succeeded in doing that. And I don't think, and again, if you're looking for anything above that, which a lot of people do want in their movies, then I think that's what you're going to be a little bit upset about because it doesn't really have another level. And in fact, it dances kind of weird because it is supernatural, Terrifier. Very supernatural, but it just kind of injects that as an afterthought. So
it is time to put the second one out, though. I enjoy Terrifier a lot, but it's time to release the second one. I think the success of the first one has gone to these filmmakers' heads, and they think they're fucking releasing Gone with the Wind or something. Like, put the fucking movie out already.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we got a 2.5 hour cut. We got to edit. Just edit the fucking thing and put it out.
Yeah. Make it two movies then. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Cut it right in half.
Yeah.
Give us an hour and 15-minute movie this year, an hour and 15-minute movie next year, and fuck off.
Put the volume 2 and volume 3. Do the Tarantino on it and get the movies out. Exactly.
Just like Hellfest is fun, and these movies are fine. I want a movie about kids that just go somewhere and get slaughtered, or something, a simple, basic thing about teenagers that do their thing, and there's a local legend. It's so easy to do, but I can't see anybody doing it front to back where I'm engaged the whole movie and I get that excitement. I just don't see it. Again, they're not bad movies. I just want to have ones that I love come out again because I believe it can be done. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think we're there yet. I think we've come close. I don't know. We need more. That's all I can say.
Fear Street gave you the local legends and had the kids.
I enjoyed Fear Street. I think I told you that the first 10 minutes of
Those are good.
freaking 94
Fun.
was great. It took me back to like a real slasher. I was like, wait a minute. Then they went other places. And anyway, we'll get to that on year end. I'm sure they'll come up. But I mean, yes, it can be done. It can be done. So anyway, we got to get to these flicks, man. Ram Man picked us alien-based flicks. We have what do we have here? Fire in the Sky. We have Predator, and what's the third one? Extraterrestrial.
Correct.
Yes, Extraterrestrial.
Yeah. Oh my god! Excuse me. Fuck.
You're the tired one.
Holy shit! I'm like, I slept good too. I went to bed early last night. Well, not too early, but where the fuck is Sage?
Man.
I had to go
Wait,
get
I don't know.
When I'm down here, my nose starts running, and I got more coffee to get me going. I'm not tired. I'm not been out, like I said, in my car for 24 hours. But
dude,
I like to have my
you
coffee.
got a little
octane.
curl on your right side that's hanging down. You got to fix that. It's not that one on your left side, on your right side.
This
There.
is
No,
bothering
the
you?
other one. No, the other one on the other side. You're right.
Who gives a shit?
There you go. No, it looked like you had a spider on your head. It scared me before.
Ooh, a
I
spider.
swear it did. I was about to tell him, like, see, I think you have a tarantula on your head.
Hey,
Good
spider.
old
You know that a
tarantula.
tarantula bite is no worse than a bee sting unless you're allergic to tarantulas?
I know, but they scare
It's
me.
the idea. I agree. I don't like spiders. I don't like rodents. I don't like reptiles. I don't like any of that shit.
I don't like people.
Yeah.
I don't like people who like rodents or reptiles or.
Which one are we starting with? I heard you announce them and talk about that Ram gave us these ones. Which one are we starting with? Are we going in order of release?
You want to do that?
I don't care, man.
Let's do
I
that.
don't care.
Let's start with Predator then.
Oh, let's do that.
You know what?
Awesome.
I wish you hadn't told me what it's from.
Now you're gonna watch it. You're gonna
Now it's annoying me more, making me like the movie less.
Shaun of the Living Dead.
A staple of my childhood.
What
I
a
hate
joyless
that.
prick.
It's a great line from that movie. It's classic.
He's so joyless. It's great.
I know. Damn.
I don't know. It's not the movie. It's just your Linnea impression.
That's what she says. That's
Makes
what
me
she says.
it makes me want to shave my Pope's nose with a rusty tuna can lid.
Do you have sour balls? Is that better? Does that make you happy now? I just want to look good for the boys. How's that? Is that
Yeah,
better?
I
Hunky
think
boys?
it's pretty good.
See? I can even do Linnea impressions. How about that?
I think it's
can
better
do
that we
voices.
don't see you. I think your voices come up better. Oh, while Braden's bringing up the Sting, Jerky Boys, like Dice, like a bunch of other things like Rocky 4, come up. Oh, shut the fuck up, Braden. You even like, we talk about them every show. We talked about them last show. They came up. Who knew? How did we not know that during COVID they released another album this time last year?
I don't know.
Like November.
You've
I
done it
can't believe it. A
You
full
were
album.
too busy blowing Halloween 2018. That's why. If you weren't
that was-
blowing these shitty franchises,
that was a
you
few
would have
years
known
ago.
that a new album came out.
Anyway, there's a whole album on Apple Music, and I'm sure a lot of the other streaming sites that they released all new material. They, being Johnny B, released all new material and an hour and 10 minutes of phony phone calls. I will say this. I did laugh. I did laugh multiple times. I won't say it's great, but it was good to hear new stuff, and I enjoyed listening to it, and I re-listened to a few of them. But I definitely did laugh at some of them, and some of them I was like, wow, this is not remotely funny, but so be it. It was kind of like their other ones, other than the first two that I feel like I cried through the whole albums. But it's just, It's out there, and we brought them up, so I thought, hey, I got to bring it up again. But I don't know, D, if you had a chance to listen to it, but there's some funny shit on those albums.
No, but
on that album.
I'll get around to it. I definitely will.
Yeah, me too.
For sure. But Predator,
Yeah.
let me say.
Yeah,
you
sorry.
remind me. Let's get this on. Time is of essence.
All right, Predator from 1987. A team of commandos on a mission in a Central American jungle find themselves hunted by an extraterrestrial warrior. Of course,
right,
directed by John McTiernan.
That's right. Let me say something about it. This movie is not marketed like a horror movie and presented like a horror movie, but I believe that it is a horror movie after watching it this time and assessing it.
Wow,
It's funny.
I believe you are nuts.
Okay,
Are you
so
serious?
here.
People go
It's not a horror movie. It's not a horror movie. It's not a horror movie.
Okay,
How can
and
it not be?
It's
I'll-
not a horror movie.
I kind of in between both. So all growing up, I've watched this movie numerous times. Staple of the childhood. Again, Dave, I did like action films, so I always classified this as an action movie. I never once thought of it as a horror film, even as a kid. I always thought this was an action movie about with an alien, and it's set up like that. Like you said, there's no marketing on it. Now IMDb says action, sci-fi, horror, and whatever.
Good.
But I never once thought of this as a horror film. I watched it this time, and I can sort of go in the direction you're going, Dave, but I'm still with Brandon on it. Mostly, I think it's an action film, but goddamn, I do see, it's a slasher film. Okay, yes, it's stealing from the slasher subgenre in a sense of the being picked off one by one, and Arnold Schwarzenegger being the final girl. I mean, there's a whole scene that could be like a carbon copy of Nancy setting up the booby traps for Freddy, and Schwarzenegger setting up the booby traps for the Predator. But it's the tone, the way it's filmed, the way it's presented to us. It's an action film through and through.
Yeah.
The way it's presented, I agree. This is what I'm saying. It's not marketed or presented as such. But as I'm watching the movie, now listen to this. If you imagine, just because they're going there on this false pretense of fucking rescuing these people. Again, I get confused with that whole thing. Just because they're guys and they got guns and they go there, they're POWs or whatever, they're ex-fucking fighters, whatever they are, and they go to the woods and this monster fucking terrorizes them, picks them off one by one. How is that any different from a movie like a Cannibal Holocaust where they just go there to film a documentary about the fucking Amazon and a monster comes out and kills them one by one?
Because of the intent of the filmmakers.
Yeah.
Because of the intent of the filmmakers. The intent of the filmmakers here is Arnold Schwarzenegger is the biggest action star in the world at this point. He has defeated everyone, including a Terminator, which is also not a horror film. So what can we take into that can fight him and present him with the best, an action warrior from outer space? It's
you can't. But it's because of the actor. So if the actor was fucking Christopher Lee, it's a horror movie?
No, it's not a horror movie.
And the director,
even Christopher Lee. It's not. The intent was not to make a horror film.
They could have made this a horror film. They could have made it a horror film. They just chose not to. So it's not there to scare.
Exactly.
I agree, Brandon.
It's not there. The POV of the Predator is not there to be a nod to slashers. It's there to show you that he's a hunter. The fact that he's scary looking is just because you're probably young when you see it, but there's no intent here to scare people.
Okay, let me rephrase it. After watching this movie, I don't have a problem whatsoever with anybody calling this a horror movie.
I really don't have a problem.
I can understand why
I don't
people
either.
classify it that way. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not here to say this is definitely a horror movie. I'm not saying that. I think it's the way I came out of the gates because I was a little excited. But I mean,
I did the same thing. I went, I talked about it. Yeah. I get it. It's just like what happens is when, like, so the slasher subgenre was very popular. I keep going back because it's more of a slasher than I think even a horror, other than the fact that with the alien, because it is someone in the woods killing people off one by one for the most part, and then a final fight, a final chase, and final fight.
It's a monster movie. It's like anything.
But where I'm going with it is that, again, based on what we've already talked about in the presentation, it's not horrific at all. You get the big action setup with that whole shootout and all the explosions and everything else. I think if it was filmed differently or presented differently, this very much could be a horror film. And they chose to go the action route. Where I was going with it, and again, I lost my train of thought, is like, because slashers were so popular, you had things like Jagged Edge or Fatal Attraction that came out. And really, they were mainstream versions of slasher films, in a sense. Maybe not as many deaths or whatever, but because they were trying to appeal to a mainstream audience. So they would put A actors in, and they would get that crowd. I feel like Predator is the same thing. It kind of borrows from that. But again, presentation-wise, doesn't feel anything like a slasher or horror film.
No, I wasn't even thinking a slasher. Just a movie,
really?
Just a monster movie. People go somewhere and they get murdered by a freaking monster that's out there, like Grizzly or any fucking monster movie you could think of. People go somewhere, picture. There was a good war movie that came out not too long ago, in the '90s, I think, actually. So I guess kind of long ago. But I mean, I forgot what it was called. But it was a war movie. It was a war/horror movie. But they went out to war. They were doing something. Might have been some World War II actually. And a monster came out and attacked them and killed them. And it was a horror movie. So I was just kind of thinking along those lines.
When you break it down and say alien, monster, killing, attack, like, I mean, it all falls in as a possible subgenre of horror or whatever. It's just, again, it's intent and presentation here. I really believe is what changes it. But I wouldn't argue, because again, I don't care in the end of the day if someone says, it's a slasher film, or no, it's a horror movie, it's a monster movie. Okay, fine. So it is a monster movie in that regard. But again, I always viewed it as an action film. Always.
Well, I did too. I did too. I just think this time watching it, it just kind of, I don't know. There was some sequences I'm watching. I'm like, wow. And then when he took his mask off and the way he looks and everything, and the final 20 minutes and all that, I'm like, man, this is kind of scary. This is kind of horrific. But anyway,
but he's so human-like.
He is human-like. He's cool. He's cool how he mimics and shit.
I mean, look, he mimics, he uses their voices, but he's like, it's like he was dropped off on the planet just to do some hunting. Like, he's a human going hunting. Except
hunting people for sport.
He's hunting people for sport. And if you don't have a weapon, you're not sport, he's not going to kill you. And then he even takes his weapons off, takes his armor off at the end to have a fair fight with him. He's there for sport. He's like a man. He looks terrifying, but I just
don't get me wrong. I love this movie. I actually love this movie because it's been a staple of my childhood.
Predator's amazing.
It's great.
It terrified me as a child.
Oh, really?
Well, it came out when I was 7.
Older.
I was 8 years old when I probably first saw it. Terrifying. But
well, then you have less of an excuse to say that you don't think it's a horror film.
I just don't, because I don't think that was the intent of the filmmaker. I think the intent of the filmmakers was 100% what can Arnold fight next that is going to be fair. I mean, you've had Rambo, you've had Commando, you've had Terminator. It's like, what's next?
It's more, what is he focusing on? Because the script itself, like I said, could play out like a slasher or a horror film. And you could, if you filmed it and scored it differently, then it could easily fall into that realm. But it's presented very action-esque. And again, you were right. He was at the height of his career. He had already had like Terminator, and he already had Commando, and I don't know if Rodil was after, but whatever. Like, I mean, he was at the height, and it was like the next Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Yeah. So I get it. And then John McTiernan is also not, like, you'd never put his name with horror. You put it with Die Hard and other action movies. So his intent was never to deliver that. Some of the other sequels are more horrific than this one, but they always kept that action edge. But I would say that some of them definitely fell more into the monster movie realm. And again, it's weird to argue against this for this particular movie. But again, it's just my thought growing up as well. And sorry, Dave, you said you'll tell us why?
No, this feels more horror than Aliens does. Aliens feels like an action flick that happens to have some aliens in it, where this feels like a monster movie that happens to have action people in it, I guess. I don't know, but I didn't mean to harp on it. I'm going to tell you something. Go ahead, BC. I'm sorry.
No. I'm talking a lot, and I just, again, it's the what they focus on. If you focused on that first group of commandos coming in and getting killed and skinned by this predator, and then they come in and there's a setup and whatever, and then the music is more dreadful and whatever. I mean, you've got a theme here that is, when you hear it, that it's the Predator theme. Again, if you're a fan of these films, you'll definitely know it. But ultimately, it's the way they present it. So you got a spaceship landing or whatever, and then we're following this group of people that are coming in, and they've got this mission, and it's kind of like a cleanup crew and whatnot. It's the way that the story's presented and filmed that I think dictated. I know I'm just regurgitating the same thought over and over, but I say that's the reason why. I said if they take the story structure and jiggled it and whatever, I think it definitely could have been a horror movie.
Sure, man. I figured it out this time. I want to come right out with it and explain my issues as a viewer on certain kind of movies. I figured it out, and I could finally put it into words. Now, if you guys can both tell me the plot of this movie, they're sent to go. Don't interrupt. Let me finish it first, and then you can give me your take. This is my issue with movies like this, and why they're not my cup of tea. Like, and as an action, because I usually can't follow the plot. When they're talking about this, that's reason one. When they're talking about they have to go here because a chopper went down or something, and it's some guy involved with government or whatever the hell it is, and then they go there and the person's gone. Then they find out that it was a ruse and this and that. Then the next thing you know, there's this fighting going on, and somebody picks up a car and rams it into the thing, and the guy goes, "Holy shit!" And there's these things. I noticed that I can never seem to follow the plot of these movies, and this is what it is. I finally figured this out. This is the biggest observation I've made in these kind of movies ever. I don't understand how other people can watch these movies, and people complain about MTV style editing, they like to say. You watch these movies like this, and you literally get a 2-second shot of somebody shooting something or blowing something, and then it's cut. And then you see something over here, and then it's cut. Now, I know it's me and ADHD, and I can't follow it, but I don't know how even a normal person that doesn't have my brain can follow and process those things that are moving so fast on the screen and can follow the plot of the movie. Is it just me, or do people just look the other way and don't care about these things? I need to know.
Brandon, I don't know. You look like, well, I don't know why I raised my hand there.
Raise your hand. You got it.
I think it's a very simple plot.
Yeah. It turns out that it's a very simple plot, but I don't think I was ever aware of this plot until I watched it when I was older. I mean, they think they're going in there. Carl Weathers, Dylan's character, brings them in there under the guise that they're going to rescue some government official who's been kidnapped. When it turns
how
out
do the guerrillas figure into it?
Because the actual thing that was going on with the Russians were working with these Central American guerrillas to I think attack America.
Yeah,
I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to get information on what they were planning. That's why when they go in, Carl Weathers is looking for all the information. They realize they've been screwed, and the first set of missionaries were sacrificed under false pretenses, and Arnold's there under false pretenses.
I get the false pretense part.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the whole narrative.
It was Russians using the Central American guerrillas to come up with some attack, I think, on the U.S. I think.
Okay.
Honestly, the fact that you guys are even diving deep there, great, because I never even cared. Because it's literally a thinly veiled plot point. I think people do look the other way. It's there. It's Dustin. I've never drilled down on the plot to that extent, other than some shit went down that now they have a rescue team coming in, and that's it. And it feels like a rinse and repeat of Alien or Aliens, where it's the same thing. A crew's coming in to fix something that went fucking bad.
Yeah,
and
but
now we're focusing on this group.
But they explain it, and you still don't know. So it is the fault of the movie. People don't seem to care, but for me, I want to know what I'm watching. I don't want to just... If you're going to take the time to build a storyline, I want to understand why A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking anybody that loves this type of stuff. I'm just trying to convey why I have problems at movies like this. It happens every time I watch movies like this. I can't follow the narrative. And then what I said about the quick cuts and the shooting, can you guys really follow all that stuff that's going on there? My mind cannot process it ever.
John McTiernan is also I don't necessarily like all of his shots or his choices of shots. Like both in this and Die Hard, and I really enjoy both movies. But I do find he is a little weird that way. He was almost like. It's going to sound weird, but he was almost Michael Bay-ish before Michael Bay was there. He filmed things very commercial-esque. You'll get just random shots. I agree, but that's an action movie too. And again, it's to be kinetic editing, but it's more straight-laced editing. At least it's cut, as opposed to all this new shit that they put into movies now. So I respect it more so. But I get what you can say. But it's meant to be chaotic. And not to have you follow everything, but you're just supposed to get that they're in a battle. And so I think it works in that regard.
And it's really just about showcasing these fucking huge muscular men with these giant guns. That's why you don't even see a lot of the kills. You just see Jesse Ventura pull out that fucking
awesome
that gun that just fucking
painless.
Annihilates everything.
Well, there's also those random shot of when when Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger greet each other.
Oh
and
God,
he's like,
yeah.
Dutch, you said it's like boom, and it's just like a close up of their muscles. Like it was like that's
cool.
for you. To me, that's for you 80s action or wrestling fans that just love seeing like muscular guys and greased up and whatever like that. I always thought those were weird shots to me, but it was like you got them and got him in Commando as well. I think the first 5 minutes is just Arnold Schwarzenegger like close-ups of his muscles doing shit. I think he's carrying out garbage. He's fucking just close-ups of his muscles.
Yeah, he's yelling garbage day.
Garbage day. But
nice.
Again, it's unapologetic. It's like, okay, we have a quick setup here to get to where we need to go, and now they've got to deal with this this tear in the woods. The chopper part, I think it was that it went down, but because there's gorillas and because it's such a thick forest, they can't be rescued there. So they got to get to a certain point, and that's where they're traveling to, where it's clearer, and they're able to get the chopper there. But then that's when all hell breaks loose. If you're wondering why the chopper couldn't rescue them where they were initially.
Yeah, no, they even say that they couldn't get to him there. And Dave, just not to harp on it, because I agree with Christian where I never really cared, but I was paying attention this time. This cabinet member, they thought they were rescuing, turned out to
I'll be right back.
Turned out to be a CIA. Yeah.
You're great. Now he knows.
He can go back and listen to the show. He was a CIA agent who was killed. So they were evidently undercover gathering information about a threat that was posed to the country. And it was a genuine threat considering the Russians were working with these guerrillas. So whatever. But, I mean, you're right. See, nobody cares about that in this movie.
Yeah. I mean,
they really don't. They really don't.
Even like there was like, it wasn't as big of a portrayal as presented in the Aliens movies, where there's always one fucking Yahoo that is there for some corporation. Even Carl Weathers, whoever he is, it wasn't like he was a bad guy. He just wanted to get them there and whatever it may be. It just, and I again, it's an excuse for action. And like, there's so many, I've quoted this movie for whatever reason. If I'm running and I'm starting to get out of breath, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to have some fun. I've said it. I've said it throughout my life. It's just something I've grown up with. And again, it's just something that is in my psyche. And I'll say it there. Turn around. Gee, you got a big pussy. Gee, you've got a big pussy. Why'd you say it twice?
I didn't.
I didn't. It's the echo. Dave is off the fucking face of the planet. Who knows where he got whisked away because he's on the fucking job. But no, this movie's a ton of fun. But again, it's action, sheer 80s action genius.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's if you're looking for something, I read some reviews, people like fan reviews, and someone's like, tremendously overrated. And I'm like, what? Like, I guess because of how many sequels. Again, this movie at the time, I remember this was like the movie that we all wanted to see. And when I didn't get to see it in the theater, but when I did see it, it just became a staple.
Exactly. I was literally going to use the phrase that this is a staple of action greatness.
Yeah.
This just belongs in the rotation of your favorite action films.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And the kills are great. The characters are great. I mean, I love them all. They're all terrific in this.
And decent enough special effects. I mean, they look only somewhat dated, but again, because of the way he films and edits, they go around, but the chameleon outfit of that so well done.
So well done. And the Predator, the look of the Predator in this film is terrifying. I mean, that's the genuinely scary part. He is a terrifying looking creature, and they have I forget the actor's name who played him. But, big
Peter
guy.
Something or other.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be Jean-Claude, but I think he did some tests and hated it or couldn't do it, so he was ousted.
Well, they got the guy who played like Harry in the Hendersons. He played Harry, so like he's a huge guy. He was like 7'1", 7'2", yeah. So it's even more menacing because he towers over Arnold, and he's just enormous and it's terrifying. And the mimic and the camo, the scene where Schwarzenegger's in the tree and he crawls right by him. Like there's some genuine tension in there.
Like, I would assume, I don't know. I would love to see the script, but I would assume the things like "stick it around" and "you're one ugly motherfucker." I bet they're not in the script. Maybe the ugly motherfucker one is in, but that stick around was just a staple of the times, a sign of the times in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, where he had to have like his lines or whatever. You kill somebody.
I don't feel bad enough that you just killed me and 10,000 of my closest friends and comrades. You have to make a fucking jab, snide comment, joke at my expense. Stick around.
Stick around.
You just stuck the biggest fucking knife in the world in me, and you're telling me to stick around.
I do have to give props to the effects, though. You guys are talking about the effects. The practicals, Stan Winston, were freaking great. The Predator himself, maskless, and then the skin people, all that stuff was really good. And then the little gore that we did get, that was good stuff, man.
Yeah, you don't get skin people looking that good anymore today. Well, you don't. Everything CGI looks terrible. I want to I believe that they genuinely skinned these people for this film. That's how good it looked.
And Shane Black is in this movie. Yeah. Shane Black actually had a lot to do. I don't know if he had a lot to do with the sequels, but he definitely tried to do the one that came out a few years ago, The Predator. And I think he wrote that one. Possibly directed it as well. But so he was friends with Fred Decker and like did you would know him, Dave, if you don't know.
Did you say Fred Decker?
Yeah, for Night of the Creeps or Monster Squad. I think he co-wrote Monster Squad with them.
I thought I heard Fran Drescher.
I thought he said Fred Durst.
I thought I heard Fran Drescher. I was like, wait, what? The Nanny?
He wrote Rollin'. I need another lyric here. Just say Rollin' again. Okay. Rollin'.
James Brolin.
Shane Black, we need to punch this song up a little bit. What would you add here? Yeah! Sounds good. Yeah!
Oh, shit. It's a fun movie. But the thing is this. Just like I feel about most of the superhero movies and Kong versus Godzilla and all the other ones I like, I enjoy them. I think they're really good, but I just only like them so much. It's like I don't regret my time. I'm cool with it, but it's the same. I give these movies always the same rating. It's always right the same. I'm not saying I have to get to rating now, but these are just my views on the movie as I'm watching it. I enjoy the ride, and this is good, and this is great. But maybe it's because of what I said before. I don't feel I'm fully informed with the plot narrative. I can't keep up with some of the jumping around stuff, and I guess that, for whatever reason, throws me off as a fan of other kind of movies where I'm used to getting that stuff.
Not a big fan of House of Pain, are you?
The House of Pain. I love House of Pain.
Dave, I know what you're saying, but I feel that everything's a little bit more grounded here. I feel like there's more weight. It's more simplistic. It's setup, delivery. And so it's forgiving. And it's just not just coming from a nostalgia standpoint, because I've been rewatching it, and I'm like, I really like the way this progresses and gets to it. The newer movies that you mentioned, I got nothing necessarily wrong with them. They're all like 7.5s. Maybe they could go up to 8, but I feel like they're a little bit, except for that last Kong versus Godzilla, I feel like they're a little bit more soulless, and I feel like the script is all over the place. You don't get a time to breathe or whatever. I think here there's multiple characters, yet I feel like you get enough taste of who each and every one are, even if it's just a quick line here or there. And I feel like I'm on board with this more so than I am with Kong Skull Island or definitely that Kong versus Godzilla or whatever the fuck it was called. It's just, I don't know. To me, there's more weight here, even if it was a popcorn flick and not meant to have it. I will say one other thing about the 4K, because I've got you can watch it in 4K on Disney Plus through the Star part, or I've got also the digital copy of it in 4K. Very grainy, very messy at the beginning. It's very dark. It almost looks kind of ugly looking. I was like, this is a fucking almost like an film.
This is one ugly motherfucker.
It just looks muddy. It looks muddy at the beginning. That's perfect. And I was like, wow, this is not aged well. You figure this would be a movie that would look great. Having said that, later on, there are certain like scenes and images in the jungle that look much better in the film. But if you look at the beginning images of this film, I don't think anybody could disagree that there's a lot of grain in it, murky and dark looking, and not necessarily a great representation of what 4K can look like. That's it. That's my little take on 4K.
I honestly, I didn't watch it in 4K, but I noticed the same thing. I just think that that beginning of the
been the
film.
movie.
Just it's just the movie because the beginning of the film. I was even saying because I was watching with my dad. I was even saying, "Man, this looks like ass. It looks terrible." But then as it went on,
Did your dad eat it?
yeah,
I was just gonna say, awesome. I was just about to say,
like this looks like a
Ass.
fucking Pope's nose.
Oops.
I don't even know if I had the 4K.
Well, it's streaming.
4K.
It's streaming on 4K. You guys, again, either of you guys have Disney Plus?
I used to. I'm going to get it back when I can find someone.
I just don't know if they have that Star portion in the States yet. I assume they do, but I don't know. And so I've got like the Alien series on there, the Predator series on. It's all part of Disney Plus, and they put a lot of their content in 4K. So it was really cool. Having said that, like I was like the first half hour of that movie, not the best representation of 4K, but something got better. So definitely just interested in hearing other people's thoughts out there. But again, an action staple. This is up there with me with like the First Blood and Rambo Part 2 at the time, Rocky 4. Like it just encompasses ones that were in my rotation, constant rotation. I watched this more than I watched Terminator or Commando at the time.
I like to watch this movie while going Commando.
That goes without saying.
I like my Pope to be hanging out.
Yeah. Do you do like the two little black lines on your balls like he does under his eyes? Oh, I love that too. That he like that's a great like. Let's get back to the movie a little bit. It is great. All with like not the when it's all muddied up. He realizes that he can't see him because he's covered with mud when he gets out of the water. That's a very good sequence, and I like how he follows that so that when he does the getting ready sequence, which I love in movies, where he's setting up all the booby traps and everything. Booby traps? Sorry. Brandon's face. I love it. Beautiful. But that he keeps the mud on him because he realizes that he can't see. Now, we already know that's what it was, but audiences back in 87, I guess, weren't that smart. So he actually had to say it to the camera. He couldn't see me. In that scene where he holds the mud up. We already know, but him being covered in mud, looking at his hand, that tells you the story. But they had to do that one extra line, I guess, for 80s action audiences that they wanted to make sure they drilled it home that it's because of this mud.
You have to.
That
you have
couldn't
to.
see him.
Listen, the target.
Alabama. I know. Alabama.
Okay. You nailed it. Who's seeing these movies? Alabama. That's it.
Yeah. For the Alabama contingent, they needed to put that line in.
Oh man, what a cool scene where he's got the collection of the skulls, and you could see Mac's skull in there because it's got the hole in it.
Yeah.
He like polished it down.
Oh man,
I love that.
He was my favorite character, actually.
Mac.
The whole movie. Yes.
He was good.
He was righteous.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
And I like that that Dylan went with him. Like was like looking after Mac at the end. He was like, well, the end for them. He was like he wasn't gonna cut the chopper. He was gonna be with him. And Billy sacrificing himself. I wish they had shown that.
Right.
Yeah, you just hear the screams. There's a lot of just hearing the screams. But Carl Weathers getting his arm blown off was always a favorite part of mine.
And the arm still shooting.
And it's just firing off on the ground. I always thought that was really cool.
He's still flexing his bicep.
Yeah. Like arms at the screen go, like it deflates like a balloon. After it's been off. What I like, you talk about like the introduction of the girl, because they always have to have a female character in these movies too, is the fact that Dave, to what you said earlier, he's going around, all these guys are just shooting left, right, and center. There doesn't seem to be any method to their action, even though they're professionals and they know what they're doing. And so they're not even thinking twice about what they're doing. It's like they turn this way, and whatever, stick around, whatever. She comes up behind him. Schwarzenegger turns around and butts him with a gun into her face. Like, how did he know that it was a girl coming up to him? It would have been like any other guy, and she would have been shot dead. I noticed that this time. Never thought about it much more.
You know how he knew?
How?
He could smell a cunt. I myself could not.
Oh man, Jesus!
Awesome.
There it is. Answered. It was answered for me. 10 out of 10.
That was on the director's cut.
Yeah.
It even goes over. special features of the director's cut.
He cut out
Shit.
his quib there, but no,
You know
I'm
what? No, it's a genuine. I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, here he is, just slicing people up, ripping them in half, and all of a sudden he just gets the urge just to turn around, just like butt somebody
yeah.
with a gun. Like, get out
Yeah.
of here.
They could have introduced her better if they needed to have her in there or wedged in there. I wouldn't have minded a John Carpenter kind of thing-esque idea where it was just a group of guys stuck. But I guess at this point, you needed like sort of a female that she wasn't really set up as a love interest, but I guess that was the idea. Maybe I don't know. She told a little story, but I don't think it really added anything that couldn't have been brought up by one of the other guys. Or one of the grunts.
Is that just to imply that the predator has been coming to Earth before to hunt? And the story sort of got spread within her village and community?
I think it's the mythology expanded as more movies came. There was definitely, I think, signs that they've been here before.
Yeah.
Or they've been here and they've come back and they're coming back again. Like there's definitely a lot more of it. I mean, one of them, I think it was the Predator, when they go to his skull collection at one point, you see like the alien skull. Like he's got like one of the aliens in there too, which is great. A great little Easter egg. But no, solid film. I always enjoy it. It was great to see it again. It's fun. I feel like it's fast paced. I don't get I don't get what you get, Dave, on this. I get that more from the new wave action films where I'm lost and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Where are we now? Why did we just jump to 5 different locations in the span of 2 minutes?
Yeah,
that's what's happening now, like ADHD action films. Now, back then I felt they were a little bit more grounded or much more grounded. So
Agreed.
But 9 out of 10 for me. I almost want to give it a 10, but I feel 9 out of 10 is great.
Well, you talked me up. I was going to go with my standard 8 for movies like this, but the more I think about the movie and look back on it and think that maybe if I watched it at home on my TV with the sound and everything else, I would have a little more appreciative of certain things. So I'm going to go up to an 8.5 on it.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
9 for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's respectable.
There
Right,
we
that's
go.
good.
And I also
Right.
thought the same. I also thought, like, should I go 9.5? Should I go 10?
Yeah.
So
I don't
at
have
least
to.
we agree.
I don't have quips with it. I really don't.
That's good. I'm glad we're off to a good start. I have a feeling listeners stick around because I have a feeling that the next 2 movies there's going to be some griping going on, and I'm interested to hear what's going to happen there. I don't know, based on one thing that C said, and then based on one thing that B said about 2 different movies. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
curious.
know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm curious.
Well, I'll dangle a little carrot there. Extraterrestrial is probably the most horror of all 3 movies that we did this week.
Well, we had 2 non-horror films and 1 horror film.
Well, I want to talk about what I talked about on the 22 Shot show at the end, why I eliminated that year. I want you guys to do this live on the show now, if you don't mind. We had to pick a year. Back in the day on Banana Laser, we picked, kind of like we did here, when we did the 40 years of horror, we had to pick 1 horror movie each year. I don't know what I did when I did this show, but I must have done the same thing. We got to the year 1993, and I looked at all the movies, and I could not find one real good movie to me to pick for that year. And so at the time I said it's got to be Fire in the Sky by default, because when I googled horror movies 1993, that's one that came up. So that is why I think that 1993 is the poorest year. I didn't get a whole lot of time to discuss it on the show. They apparently JP and Moods and Dave think that 98 is worse. But all I remember is that 93, I could not find a solid pick of a movie that I felt comfortable saying this is my favorite. So I picked Fire in the Sky, which goes to show you, yes, I do enjoy it. But can you guys disagree with me on it? Isn't 93 a terrible year of horror? Is there one great
I can't remember.
there?
I can't remember fucking shit. I got to look at what I picked for it. I finally found my list. Well, I had
Just take 2 minutes.
I had Army of Darkness and Dead Alive as because I'm a big Army of Darkness fan, and whether or not that's horror, yes, you could argue as well. And then Dead Alive, because although 92, I think it got released in 93.
But if you're
again,
just going by the B, though, if you're just
by
Googling it and it
retro.
comes up 93, that's what I did, I Googled horror movies 1993. So whatever came up, that's how I did it. It was a quick thing, But, okay.
Body bags.
Well,
Okay, Body Bags. Really? That's a movie you want to wave a flag for and say it's the best movie of the year? To me, that would be a
when a stranger calls back. I think that's underrated.
Okay. But do you get
Leprechaun?
why I removed 1993? What the hell is happening in 93?
Trauma.
Seriously.
Chronos.
Amityville, New
Chronos.
yeah.
Chronos.
We've talked about some of these movies. Amityville, A New Generation, The Dark Half,
Body
Skinner.
Melt.
Yes, movies that at best are above average. Right? Is there a great movie in that bunch that you want to watch?
I'll notice when I put horror films, I will tell you this, when I put horror films 1993, I'll tell you what didn't show up, Fire in the Sky. When I Googled
What? It did for me. That's why I picked it that day. It came up, so I don't know.
Fire in the Sky, don't get me wrong. I saw that in the theater. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it this time. I enjoyed it. But I agree with Dave. Like, other than that one memory scene, which is, or I agree with Brandon, excuse me, other than that one memory scene, which is the weight of the film, nothing else horrific happens in this movie, because it's just them not telling a story. It's almost frustrating how long they don't open their mouth about anything. Again, I guess we should introduce it, because I'm already going on a
I'm sorry.
Rant.
All right, Fire in the Sky from 1993. An Arizona logger mysteriously disappears for 5 days in an alleged encounter with a flying saucer in 1975. His co-workers endure ridicule and contempt as they are wrongly accused of murder.
Okay, the way I feel about alien invasions, they actually genuinely scare me, and it's only been done a couple times good. And strangely enough, these are the two movies we're talking about tonight, where to me it's effective. Not counting Independence Day, which I love those attack scenes because they are kind of genuinely scary in the beginning of Independence Day when they're just unknown and they're attacking. It is scary to me. But this movie here spooks me out, and so does the next one. But for right now, I've always loved this movie because it actually creeps me out. The scenes the things that happen are pretty horrifying to me.
No, I don't disagree with you, D. I honestly think it's a well-made film that has effective sequences. And again, I know the point of this show is not to argue whether or not it's a horror film or not. It's definitely more dramatic, and it's almost frustratingly long at the beginning where they come back and they're all frantic and they're having a drink and they can't get their story straight or whatever like that. That's the stuff that's frustrating to me. I'm just going to be like, I don't know what we saw, but there was a light in the fucking sky. This guy, and he was gone. He was there, and then he was gone. And whatever, it feels like it takes them a fucking half hour, I'm exaggerated here, to even get to that point in the movie. But I don't just, like, everybody's likable. There's a nice cast here. I like the way that they kind of progress it. I just kind of feel they needed like a bit of that adrenaline shot to get it moving a little bit faster, to get it to that point.
Unfortunately, it's very accurate to the story, because I saw the documentary on this, the one, I mean, I'm sure there's been a bunch, but the one from 2016, and they interview the real Travis, they interview all the real people, and the real story behind all of this was sort of what they focused on, and that's the fact that this group of friends who got left behind were really on the verge of being charged with murder.
Right. It's crazy.
I mean, wow. Travis did not have the memory, nor did he talk about it with the great detail that they show with these aliens, with these cocoons and stuff. I did see this in the movie too, in the movie theaters as well, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy those sequences more when I was younger. I do enjoy this film more for the dramatic character study and how this group is dealing with it, and sort of when Travis returns. I don't need the spaceship stuff now.
Oh my God, really?
See,
I love them equally. I'm at the point now, where I used to be like you, where I used to just love the early stuff. Now I love the dramatic stuff, but I love it all. It fucking creeps me out. Those aliens look so fucking mean. All that shit they show still blows me away.
They look like mean ETs. What they do?
Yeah, but they're fucking. They
call them meaties.
So mean. They're badass, dude. It's scary to me that because I believe this could happen, and it scares me more than other things. And I love those scenes. But the thing is, I'll tell you this: this movie reminds me of. It gives me that comfortable feeling that some of those Stephen King movies give me, where everybody in the town knows each other. I'm a sucker for movies like that.
I like that aspect too. I like that where
dynamic,
everybody knows your name.
yeah.
I only trust you. You only trust the local cop because when they're going to do the lie detector test or whatever it may be, and he's like, "Will you trust me that this won't be, jaded or whatever or fucked up?" And he's like, "Yep, you got my word on that." I love that because you're right. And then how quickly the town's like, "Wait a second, what's going on with these guys?" But I just feel like it felt like it just took too long. To get why we're like, I get that this is something like you don't know what to expect, but they're showing us they're in the truck, right? He's getting beamed up, and I know it's not something that you see every day, and they're confused by it. But why isn't anybody able to articulate something close to what they thought they saw? Oh, I don't know what I saw. And then a half hour later,
oh, they're in shock.
Yeah, up in a fucking loony bin. That's why you can't just come out and say that. It's scary.
I agree. They're in shock. They do articulate that he got lifted up by a light and thrown, and they thought he was dead, and that's why they left. When they go back, the body's gone. So they never actually see him get taken by the ship. So they're concerned because they don't know if he just got up and ran off and died somewhere else or what the hell happened. So they can't really sort of come to terms with what happened.
And it's 5 different personalities. Everybody's different. You got all these 5 guys, all different type of people. You get them together, and they're all going into this bar where 4 of the 5 of them are used to going there, and they know most of the people that all their lives, and they're shooken up. I can see everybody has a different personality. They process what they just saw differently, and they probably said, "Hey, let's not just walk in there and tell everybody, oh, a UFO came," because who's going to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's realistic to me because everyone's different. The way they deal with something traumatic like that just happened,
Yeah, this one does play out very realistically, and the cast is very good. Robert Patrick is so young in this. I forgot it was Robert Patrick until we were watching it this time.
GB Sweeney. I was like, I remember his name, and I remember him being in The Cutting Edge, and it's not a movie I even saw.
I love The Cutting Edge.
I've never even seen the film.
I love it. It's such a fun movie. Peter Berg's in it. DB Sweeney's actually on a TV show now that I watch. But DB Sweeney, Peter Berg, you got Craig Sheffer. You got a good cast here.
Well, isn't it funny that Henry Thomas is in it too? From E.T.?
Henry Thomas, yeah.
Here's what's fucked up. Henry Thomas is in this movie, and the next movie we did is called Extraterrestrial. The third movie instead of Predator just should have been E.T. It was a perfect fucking formula for those 3. Because as I'm watching these movies, I keep thinking about E.T. I'm like, fuck, because I love E.T. I mean, don't get me started there. That's the greatest of all, even though it's not scary at all. Although it is a little, but whatever, that's another story. But I don't know. I've always really loved this movie. I thought somebody was going to tear it apart, and nobody has yet.
Oh, no. I think we just it's well done. I do, and I can't disagree with what you guys are saying. I know I came in like guns a blazing saying, just get to the point already. And you're right. They're kind of trying to process it, and they're all different personalities. So I'm okay with that. I still think after that, though, there's like a couple of extra scenes that could have probably been trimmed out. That's just me personally. I just to kind of get to the next thing. But good performances, as I said. The idea of when he's found, that is where it gets interesting again and scary, of course.
Yeah, man.
I almost wish he was found sooner. I wish he came back sooner because I feel like he comes back and he's obviously traumatized, and then it's very quick from that point on till till he got married and he lives with his wife and 4 kids. Like he was a mess. Like I wanted to see the struggles that he was going through, where they show him under the table, then he's married and has 4 kids and living happily ever after. And it's Mike. And it's Mike who's actually like got divorced, is living in isolation in the woods. It's like it moved too fast at that point. I don't know. I still really enjoy it, but I feel like I wanted more in some areas and tighter and less in others.
See, I don't see the tighter and less, but I do want more. But how long can the movie be? Like, I can't think of anything I would cut. I thought it all worked out just fine. I can't think of any scene I would cut.
Maybe just move the bar stuff and the interrogation stuff and the lie detector test stuff a little bit quicker.
That's it.
Okay.
It's something like I feel like we're in this realm where it's just like, okay, we've been here. We're not watching a TV series here. This is a movie. We need to get this moving now. And I feel like we're just. I like the acting and I like that how they present that story, but I feel like we definitely needed to get to the lie detector test much sooner, and maybe. Then have him found sooner.
It does play out like almost like an extended TV show. It does. It feels that way a little bit.
You know what? I'll meet you guys on that. It could be tightened up a little. I think you guys are right.
I enjoy it though. I don't get bored with it. Even the spaceship stuff. I mean, I took the note that I'm not really interested in anymore. I don't really need it, but it looks awesome. It does look awesome. I can't deny that. And it's disgusting with all that goo and shit. I'm like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't even need it because it's almost like this is more of like about the characters. Again, they do a great job without going nuts with the characters of giving you enough to know that you care about these guys. You don't want to see them going to prison. Even Dallas, who's evidently not the greatest guy. You don't want these guys going. Yeah, Nightbreed.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? He's like he's Forrest. Pardon me, not for. He's Lieutenant Dan on New Year's Eve. That era, doesn't he resemble like Lieutenant Dan? Fucking in that era.
Except in this one, he had regular legs, not magic legs.
Yeah, or sea legs. Right. Exactly.
Sea legs.
But the thing is, B, I get what you're saying about the character stuff, and it's great. But how long had you been waiting to see the inside of a ship and creatures like this doing? There's no other movie like this until Extraterrestrial. But I mean, up to this point, for years I was waiting to see evil aliens come down and kidnap someone and do evil shit. We've never seen it before. Every time we saw aliens, it was fucking Close Encounters, and they kidnapped them, but they were nice. They just brought them back. We saw Cocoon. Nice. Shit like. I want to see from a horror type perspective where we see fucking, okay, these evil ass aliens are coming down and fucking taking us up there and experimenting and doing scary shit to us. Weren't you like, I was always waiting to see that, and this movie did it. What other movie does it? Except Extraterrestrial. But I mean, aside from that, when else do you get to see the inside of a ship and them doing things like this? You know what it reminded me of? Dude, it is so scary. Those scenes when he flashes back and they're carrying him, they're dragging him through those things and they're in the hospital and he keeps flashing back to the aliens. That's scary shit. It reminds me of an episode I saw of Unsolved Mysteries when I was young. And they were talking about people that had near-death experiences, but not all of them were happy with trees and freaking being in the sky. Some people felt like they went to hell. And that's like, I remember them showing it, like what the person felt. And they were being like dragged down something like that. And they just had a terrible feeling. And they were looking around and these creatures were pulling them into something. And it just gives me a real uneasy feeling. But I don't know. You don't respect that type of shit? Like to see that on film? You don't think it's cool and it's creepy?
No, it is. I think I think when I was younger and I went to see it, we all went thinking there was going to be much more of that. And
right.
I think in retrospect, though, I think if it was too much more, then it loses its impact and effect. So by the time it came, I remember it was pretty damn creepy. But I think I even remember being in the theater saying, "Oh, let's get on with it." And I'm going back there because at that point, that's what I wanted. So I'm like, this is just going to be them recounting the story, but they're not really. And what's happening here? And I remember going like, what the fuck? Like it was just at that time in my life where I'm like, okay, I need this to be faster paced. But I think you're like, knowing that now, how seen so many different movies, if they showed way too much of the spaceship stuff, then it becomes like, then it loses its impact and effect. So I guess I agree with how they presented it. I just wish, like we already stated and Brandon mentioned, things got to that point and they found him faster. Again, I don't know where he comes back. Let's say it's an hour and 45 minutes, this movie. I don't think he comes back until like the hour and 10 mark.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, basically.
And I really feel like they could have pushed that back again, maybe a magical 10 or 20 minutes. I don't know. Again, Dave, what would that look like? I don't know. But I feel like we just need it to to move a little bit more. So
I get that. Tighten it up a little bit. I can't argue that. You're right. You do. I see what you're saying. I love that one scene though when they're in the freaking in like the town hall and they're having that thing about everybody knows what happened, and then Mike comes up and he goes, "So what are you guys saying? We killed him?" And he goes, "I know you." I love that whole dialogue and about this town, people that they've known each other all their lives, and they're really that quick to condemn them, and because these things really happen. People would be that way. They're like, "Oh, sure, they UFOs. What are you talking about? Of course he's dead." You know what I mean? And that's like real life. That's how they would jump to conclusions that way. We see it all the time. I just love that stuff. But I agree, though. I hear what you guys are saying. There are some moments in the film where maybe it could have been tightened up. They could have shortened it and maybe done it a different way. So I get it.
I looked at the director's filmography before that. There might have been a movie that came to the theater before. It looks like he did mostly TV shows and made for TV movies before this movie. I don't know if this was his exact first theatrical, but maybe that's why we get that vibe that it plays out more TV-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
shit, man.
again, will work for some people. And again, I'm not down on this movie. Again, this is one of those reviews where I'm thinking I'm focusing more on what I didn't like. Again, I like the acting. I did like how they set up the story. I just wish it got to that other point a little bit sooner, and I do like the reveal and the creepiness of him being up in space.
He's done 95% TV.
Yeah.
What do you say? Freebase.
He's done like 95% of his stuff is
yeah.
TV. Yeah, freebases. Yeah, freebase.
Hey, did you guys notice that one scene when the alien was tugging on him, and there were those objects that were like left from people in the past, and he went by the one thing, and all of a sudden you see it floating, and then he turns around and looks at the alien, and he says, "You just broke my glasses." Did you see those broken glasses?
I did see the broken glasses. Yeah,
that was fucking great.
I love it. He just broke my glasses.
God, I can't even. I don't know. I do enjoy this movie. I think my rating is going to be higher than you think. But it's weird to try to articulate what my issue is with it. Again, it does have its scary elements. I would definitely say this one feels a little bit more horror than Predator does, but at the same time, it's still very much a character-driven dramatization of what might have happened to this guy. I do believe something happened. I mean,
well, when they show the scenes of what has happened, whether it's when his eyes go boom and whatever, and they're there to horrify. Those scenes are meant to instill terror and
absolutely.
And whatever. Where we mentioned in Predator, that wasn't the intent, or at least definitely doesn't come across. For sure.
And even the look of the ship and all, I think that, that's put in there to scare us, because, I mean, from what I remember from seeing the documentaries, that Travis has very little memory of what's going on. Now, I know this is based on a book that he had written, I think, in probably the early 90s, so, but I don't know if he recounts the details as vividly as they're shown in this. So it's hard. And also, how would he get home if these beings were so ill-intended?
Vicious?
It's so, I mean, there's just they kind of, I think, amped it up a little bit for this, but it looks cool, and that, I think that's what gives it the horror aspect.
Did he get anal probed?
No, that's,
I know the next guy does.
The next one. Yeah. But I still this one I would sooner call a horror movie than Predator. But again, like this plays out more like a
courtroom drama, almost like it's like the only courtroom drama horror film that has worked for me, because you don't hear that too often, would be The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I think that's the only one that seems to combine like dramatic elements with horrific.
That's
and
the People versus The Exorcism.
but like this one, it's like it's literally all set up. Like, I mean, again, you get that one recollection where we see the light in his eyes, and then it's really nothing until that end memory.
Yeah,
and so
weird.
It's really
This one on the B says biography, drama, fantasy. I'd rather see biography, drama, horror on this one, even though I wouldn't necessarily classify this as horror. But I would rather see horror in this versus fantasy, because that's kind of insulting to this guy to call this a fantasy film when he's claiming this actually happened to him.
This is true. This is true. You're right.
I mean, something happened. I mean, he disappeared for 5 days and then shows up. I don't know how many miles away it is, but it's pretty far away. Shows up 5 days later.
It doesn't rat out his friends with anything, like to say, "Oh yeah, no, they tried to kill me," like whatever. It's like, it's obviously, this is, yeah. But
it's an intriguing story. It's an intriguing story.
I want to see the documentary now that you saw.
Yeah, it was from 2016. It's on Prime. I can't. It's got to be on here.
Hey.
Yeah, it's called Travis, the true story of Travis Walton.
There's lots of stuff. Joe Rogan just interviewed him not too long ago on his podcast. I was watching some excerpts from that as well. You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I could be wrong. Maybe he does recount it in details. I don't remember it. I just remember it feeling more sad and more tragic, but you know, the sort of like the effect it had on these guys, and obviously they carry it with them the rest of your lives. So
it's pretty wild, and they still passed the lie detector test. Again, they took them again, like not too long ago, and they passed. Like Dallas, Travis, and Mike took them and passed. Fucking pretty wild, right there, man. You know, I don't know. I'll tell you what really gets me though, when he screams, when his wife, well, his girlfriend at the time, touches him when he's all naked at the thing, and she's like, "You go over to him," and then he puts his hand on him, and the way he screams, it's fucking horrifying, man. The dude is terrified. It's fucking, I don't know. It hits hard. I dig it. Yeah. So I'll probably be the highest. I'll go 8.5.
Okay. I'm 8.
Yeah, and I was tossing around a 7.5 to 8, and I feel like it's well made enough film. Again, if we're arguing whether horror or whatever, we'll argue till we're blue in the balls. It's not about that. It's the movie I enjoy for what it is. So I'll give it an 8 as well.
Nice.
Well, really well acted. I thought the performances were quite good as well.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. And they're all believable in the beginning. You know, all those guys and what they're doing. It's a believable scenario with everything going on between these 5 guys or 6. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just fall right into it. You know, it's got that small town feel, and I'm just a sucker for stuff like that. And you added scary aliens to the mix. I'm sold. And then you get that sequence at the end, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Those always tend to make for great drama films, or those small town sort of courtroom feels where a group of guys who are well loved are just sort of accused of something, and it's just them trying to convince their friends and their family that they didn't do anything wrong. You know, it's like To Kill a Mockingbird.
There you go. Yeah, classic. For sure.
I was thinking that when I was watching. I'm like, you know, this is just like To Kill a Mockingbird.
No, but think about it. It's a small town feel. Everyone knows each other, and you know, here's someone wrongly accused, and just because he's black, you know, they're gonna crucify this guy.
This is true. Yep. Bust up the Schiffero. Yep.
What are we? We have one last movie.
We have one more, yeah.
Dave, I don't know. Again, I don't know if you came because it was one of the times where you had to leave to do whatever you're doing for work, which I think you just hit a couple of buttons, make a little ding noise, slam your door shut to make it sound like you're fucking busy. But you could just sit in the truck and not do anything. We're fine with it. I was talking about where I saw Extraterrestrial before. It was for the show. We were getting the option to watch 3. Oh, you did hear that? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Lauren
Done.
Carter Ashley, you called her.
Oh, yeah. I fucked it up. You're right.
And the whole thing. Yeah.
Do you remember which one we ended up doing? So you're saying we didn't do Pod for the show?
No, I've never seen Pod.
Or Extraterrestrial for the show. So whatever the other one was is the one we chose. I just don't remember this happening. I don't remember us having to do this.
Because I watched Pod and I watched Extraterrestrial. and
we did Area
and that
51.
Other one.
Maybe that's why, because it was the shortest. Maybe we chose Area 51.
We definitely did Area 51 for the show.
Maybe we
That
chose
must
it
have
because
been
it was
it.
the shortest of the three.
Probably
Because I know
because
you guys love
yep.
short movies.
Well,
Yeah.
extraterrestrial is like exactly what I just complained about from Fire in the Sky, and just wedging it all down your throat in a sense and giving you like the best of everything you know and expect from an alien abduction movie. Here it is, and the kitchen sink. And for some people like Dave, I think it will be good, but I don't even know if we introduced it, so I'll shut up. And I've done this now all show, and I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. So introduce it, B, and I'll shut the hell up.
You're a yapper. Okay, Extraterrestrial from 2014. A group of friends on a weekend trip to a cabin in the woods find themselves terrorized by alien visitors.
You see, this is a regular type horror movie set up with kids going out into the woods. It's set up like any other type of movie, like a slasher or a supernatural movie. Although this time, it happens to be aliens, and this time, aliens in a horror movie are finally out just to come down and fuck shit up, and they do. You never get a movie like this. I'm telling you, for years I was waiting to see evil-ass aliens come down and freaking torment humans because it's a scary thought to me. And this is the one time it happens.
Mars Attacks. I mean, are you talking just horror-esque? Well, no, it's not. But I just say like Independence Day, Mars. Like we've had them. I guess this is the. And you're right. This is the most horrific movie of the three that we watched, no question. Yeah. Yet it annoyed me. I don't know what it is about this film that annoys the fuck out of me, but it annoys me. Maybe it's the flashing lights. Maybe it's the overt loudness of it. Like it feels like it's like the kitchen sink. Like I said, it's got to do everything. The aliens look as generic as you would think they would look based on every little like tabloid magazine, aliens abducted, whatever. That's what the aliens look like here. Nothing new there. The anal probe, like they put in everything that you would expect.
But that was a joke.
With no. Okay.
The anal probe. The guy even said in the car to the cop that was harassing him, and he goes, oh, when you're gonna go to jail, you're gonna get this and this, and he goes, oh well, if you're not gonna get this, you're gonna get an anal probe, and the guy literally says, oh, how original, an anal probe from an alien, and then it happens.
Okay.
It's almost like some of the things they were doing were tongue in cheek on purpose. It was, and I know it's kind of disjointed in that manner where some people, and I've heard people talk about this on IMDb. So many people rate this movie like a 10 out of 10, and then other people trash it.
10 out of 10.
I had no idea. Yeah, dude, look at the B. I had no idea how divisive it was, but it's just one of those flicks that it resonates with people, but other people can't stand it. And it's really weird. Like when I watched this movie with my brother, that's the takeaway he had. He didn't like the fact that the aliens look like the regular old-fashioned Greys. And he didn't like the fact that the kid got...
The Greys. See,
that's what they're called. But I enjoy that about it, that they don't try to be too fucking crazy. They're basically saying, think about it from this perspective. All these reports we've had all these years talk about them looking this way, and it's a big cover-up. Well, here's proof. These things actually happen, and guess what? They look the way people have been saying all these years that they look. To me, that makes sense. This is real, and it's being shown in this movie. This is the shit people have been talking about for years. Hey, guess what, guys? It's all true. Check it out, and it's a big fucking cover-up. So basically, the narrative is that, yes, and this is what happened, and this is horrific. These things really happen, and this is the movie. That's what I love about it. It's so simply set up.
Well,
I like the characters. I like
her. I like her. I hate most of the other characters.
The characters are stereotypical of a bad horror film. They have, of course, the one guy who's shitty to the girlfriend, who betrays the group. Of course, you have the dog that's going to disappear and show up dead. They always find a weird guy who sells weed. I don't hate the characters, but they're very cliche.
Yeah, but I agree. Everything about this. Well, you're right, Dave. I think you're right, but that's the problem. Just because it's done by intent doesn't make it good. And I agree, Brandon. Like this is exactly it. It's everything that you'd expect. Nothing new. It's the same old stuff, but delivered in a fast pace. Are the Vicious Brothers like special effects artists? Because it seems like it's made by those guys that did there's a few alien abduction or alien movies that came out in the last like 5 to 10 years that were made by people that specialized in special effects. And that's what it feels like it did. Like, oh, we could do this. And so we're going to do this, yet it feels like it doesn't have any weight. It's just loud, obnoxious. I'm not going to say I didn't like certain elements. I liked the mind control element that the aliens have and make the cop, we get an exploding head. So that's all great. I like the Spirit in the Sky redux at the end where we get that ending. I do think it's a little forced, the fate of the two surviving characters and what ends up happening. I think that is a little forced, and them holding their hands at the end was a little okay.
I actually kind of like that part.
They still get what they get. But they still give you that cool ass ending that you weren't expecting to get when they first arrive at that place. You're like, oh, they chose it. They decided to go with us. They decided everything was cool. They let us go, and then boom. See, that's what I want to see. And I like the lead. I like the cop. And here's the best part: you thought that cop narrative was gonna fucking be the whole movie about him and his missing wife. And what do? They pull the rug up from you mid movie and fucking kill them off. That never happens. Usually you watch a movie, you want to talk about movies fucking following formulas. This movie went against the formula by not making that the crux of the film. They fucking said, oh, okay, this is cool. The guy's got this missing wife. You think it's going to take it to the end of the movie and he's going to be a hero, maybe see his wife, maybe this. Instead, nope, fuck you.
See, I never thought that. It's funny that you say that. Yeah, I never thought that, but it's cool. I get what you're saying, but I never once thought that because the movie was so... I don't want to use MTV-ish, but it was so frantic in the way that it was trying to do stuff that I feel like the focus felt like it was getting lost, and it was just trying to show like a best of. Oh, let's do this. Okay, let's do that. Oh, we're going to throw in that anal probe because it will be a good gag then or whatever. And so some things clicked and worked, like the mind control thing, even though I didn't necessarily need them doing the Jedi mind, like holding the hand out factor. I feel like it could have been just done via like their mind and whatever, but him blowing his head off with the shotgun was great. But again, I hated that character. I hated that character that betrayed the friend group and whatever, that got the anal probe.
You're supposed to.
I agree. That's so typical of every group of friends.
Generic.
Anywhere.
Comes to mind.
But I don't dislike this movie. I actually enjoy the aliens. I find them intriguing because I don't feel like they're necessarily fully evil. The fact
they're
that
not fully evil.
They're not, because they do send them back and they let them off in a place where they know, like, I mean, they could have walked in the opposite direction and just walked into civilization and been fine. So, I do enjoy that. I liked the cheesy love story. I don't believe in marriage. She finds the ring. I kind of like that cheesy kind of love story within there.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Him locking them in the basement, the scene in the basement with the friend who ODs because she's scared of being taken.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's good stuff because there's some genuine tension there. And, like, I wouldn't want to be taken either. I'd probably do the same thing. Like, I'm about.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I remember that summer, and that was the best summer ever. And all that stuff. I don't know. I dig that shit. And I dig the stuff with what's his name? With Michael Ironside. It doesn't take too long. They go there, they meet him, they get a little background of it. Then they go back and he's there for 5 more minutes and he's dead. Everything they do, it's quick. They come in, they kill. This thing happens, they move on.
There's no weight.
The stuff with the saucer, huh?
I feel like that's the problem. There's no weight to it.
Yeah.
In sense. It just kind of sort of happens. I don't know. Because I argue. And that's the funniest part, because I argue about the other movies that just take too so damn long, and here I am complaining that this one now is fast paced, but there's got to be some sort of middle ground of some sort that I feel like this one I just got more, like I said, I didn't mind the setup, but I got annoyed. By midway through, I'm like, oh, I remember this. Fuck, I hate this movie.
I like
and it's
Emily
Canadian. This is a Canadian movie. You say I never shit on a Canadian film.
Well, it's got Emily Perkins at the beginning getting Bill and Ted.
Emily Perkins?
Yeah, she gets Bill and Tedded. The phone booth disappears. I expected her to be like, bring Genghis Khan back or something.
That was great. Right. And then she comes back later. That's good stuff. This is a good cast in this movie, too. They got fucking Brittany Allen, who's in all kinds of stuff nowadays. And then they got, what's her name?
From the
Melanie
Den.
Papilla, whatever her name is, from fucking The Den.
What would Papilla do? What would Papilla do?
What would Pia do? Exactly, poor girl. Right. She gets sucked up in that fucking ship. And that part was great, speaking of that. I love that scene when the ship is above them, fucking in the air. How scary is that? And the part with the rain, and all of a sudden the rain stops.
The rain is cool.
Because the saucer is above it. And then when the girl gets sucked up, boom, that's fucking terrifying. And I think the sound design is fucking great. It's very musical. It's very fucking theatrical with what they're doing with the music. The only comment I have that's negative is that the dialogue is too low compared to the fucking score, but I still enjoy the bombastic score at the right moments in this kind of movie. I want to be fucking immersed in a fucking abduction. Again, it just speaks to me, and it's a quick moving thing, and I like that shit. So I guess that's why I like it. It's set up like any other horror movie is. When do you see a fucking UFO attack that's set up like a fucking slasher flick in the beginning? Kids going over, we're going to go hang out, we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden this movie turns into fucking, then they do it found footage style. Just for those 5 minutes. They see the thing come from the sky. What the fuck is that? And then they go over there and it's done like found footage style. And they go over to the thing. Man, I think the first 45 minutes are really great. And then I think after that, there's some hits and there's some misses, but I enjoy the ride. I really like the last fucking 15 minutes when they get on the ship and all that stuff that happens.
Well, what I like about the director or half the Vicious Brothers or the Vicious Brother, because this is the guy. So they did Grave Encounters, and then they kept this girl from that was an Extraterrestrial that has now been in a ton of horror films. But he also directed It Stains the Sands Red and What Keeps You Alive, which she's in both of those as well. And I enjoyed them. So like, no, he is a great director, and supposedly he's doing an Urban Legend remake. Next. It's been announced at least, or it's in pre-production. So, I mean, there's been some he's done some cool things. So it's not like, it's just, I think this is my least favorite of his movies. And am I
okay.
gone? Oh, sorry.
No, I'm looking at his, I didn't love What Keeps You Alive, but
No, Colin Minahan. I shouted him out on the fucking director's show because I thought he did 4 pretty good horror movies. Extraterrestrial, What Keeps You Alive, It Stains the Sands Red, and Grave Encounters. One, I think he directed which one? 1 or 2? Or both?
He directed 1 and wrote 2.
And he did Spiral, which was a good
He wrote it. He wrote Stillborn, he wrote Spiral, he wrote Z, that movie Z that came out.
Oh God. That's my second least favorite Z.
But, I mean, again, if you want fast paced, you want loud and whatever, you're going to get it. And there's gore. There's gore here.
And
so
bad aliens.
And bad aliens. You'll probably be very, very happy with this. It just isn't. It didn't resonate with me. It was too flashy. It was too much. It was too loud. I felt like the characters weren't likable as we mentioned. So I didn't really give a shit. Other than her, I really do like her. But I think that's a testament to her as an actor.
The man, her boyfriend.
No.
And you didn't like the other girl too?
Oh, I like the boyfriend.
OD'd? Yeah, I thought there was one annoying character, but whatever. He turned fucking heel. He wasn't that bad in the beginning.
You know what? The boyfriend was okay. The boyfriend was fine. Yeah.
The boyfriend was nice. He tried to save them.
Yeah.
He did everything he could to save them.
It was good. He reminded me, the other guy that became annoying later and turned heel, he reminded me so much of that kid from Texas Chainsaw Remake. Almost exact. The way he talked, everything. The fucking kid with the glasses that was doing the thing with, what's his name, in the fucking car for half an hour with the gun. That's what he reminded me of, that guy. You know, but whatever. He healed out.
I don't dislike this movie. I just remember enjoying it a lot more the first time I watched it. This time around, I don't know why. I just felt like maybe I was a little too high on it the first time.
It's not a horrible film. It's just not. It feels like it's just.
Oh, it's far from horrible.
It's just so goddamn generic. It sounds like a cop out, but it just feels.
How can it be generic? There's no other movie like it. What other movie is like this movie where fucking aliens come down and fuck shit up and do all this stuff?
Well, I named a few already. I mean, I don't know what
but
it feels like. It's.
This.
I don't, but maybe that's it. Like how if there's no movie like this, yet when I watch it, it feels so generic, and I feel like I've seen it 1,000 times before. What does that say about the movie? I don't know how to answer the question, but that's what I get when I watch it, and I had that the first time I watched it too. It's just the way it's presented. It definitely falls into the annoying category for me. Yet I do like his other films, so.
Yeah. How about that? See, for me, when this came out, what I said was, this was the alien horror movie that I've been waiting for forever. Because that's the way, if I go, finally a movie where they just come down and they fuck shit up. And they do some scary things to people. They put mind control on them. They do this to them. They kidnap them. They just... See, I can't think of another horror movie. I waited for a horror movie to come and do this, and this one did it. So I'm always going to have a soft spot for it. Like, Extraterrestrial took a little bit from Fire in the Sky, took a little bit from other alien stuff. Of course they did. I guess that didn't bother me. I was happy to see those elements combined for a straight up horror flick. So I guess that was just I understand that you might have wanted more, or the aliens to look different, or I get it. It is what it is. I've always had a soft spot for it. But I know I'm not the only one. I was really surprised at how divisive it was on IMDb. People were shitting it, or people were fucking blowing it. It was really odd. I didn't expect that. I just thought this was a movie that people were like, yeah, that was pretty good, and they moved on.
I think that's where I'm at.
Well, that's good to hear, but usually people seem to be loving it or hating it. It's really odd.
If people are hating this, I just don't think they watch enough movies. There's tons of stuff to hate. I wouldn't hate on this. I appreciate the classic looking aliens.
Oh yeah.
I always prefer that. I find it creepy.
I do too.
I find it creepy and unsettling.
I definitely do. I don't. Maybe hate is a strong word for this particular movie, but I'm definitely going to be the lowest of you, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it. Other than if you want what I mentioned, like if you think you'd like that and it's fast paced, it's fast paced enough, I guess. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It just, like I said, I texted you guys. I go, this movie's fucking annoying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's the way the shit's presented. I just think it gets that loud, chaotic, like the loudness, but it's loudness that it's like the jump scare loud. That if you get annoyed by that for a jump scare, I feel like that's what the whole second half of this movie is.
Yeah, it relies a lot on the sound design.
Funny, because I do get annoyed by, I said it many times, that when I'm watching a supernatural movie or something like that, I can't stand being provoked by the jump scare to tell me when to jump. But in a movie like this, I welcome it. I guess it just depends on the kind of movie with me. Like if it's an alien thing, I'm like, yeah, being loud and bombastic and jumpy, I guess works here. But I hear what you're saying. I just don't care about it in this type of movie.
They even called the alien Mr. Bombastic.
Man. But yeah, I guess for me there was some unconventional things. And whatever, I can't go on and on. I've always had a soft spot for it. It did what I wanted it to do. You know?
It's certainly for me, if I was to recommend this film, it's for the banger of the ending. I mean, it's just sort of like
it's a Dave Z ending.
It's a fuck you guys. Here you go.
Yes. That's great. But it's still soft too. It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get that, but right before you get that moment of, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go the cheesy route. So
what happened?
that's about it.
Dave just disappeared there for a second.
I think he.
Yeah. Well,
I'm back now.
Would you end up?
Haven't heard anything.
Oh. Is his dad there? Sounds like his dad's coming to visit.
Yeah. Like, you letting bed bugs through?
Sorry, guys.
You letting any bed bugs through?
Sorry about that. I'm okay now. Oh.
It's nice to know that almost 170 episodes in, we're still on a straight downward trajectory.
Yeah.
Hey, at least
how can we fuck up sound quality more? Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the fact that that's insane. Like I get it. Even if you have to sit there, I don't know how you're like watching the movies in your car and doing that. That's crazy.
I did it all. I could keep doing it for another 24 hours. I'm fine. I just need. I asked them. Here's what the deal was. We all left at regular work time at 4:00 on Friday, right? And they said, okay. They said tomorrow everybody's coming back for storm duty. It starts at 7 a.m.
Storm duty.
Storm duty. Yeah, that's what that is.
But check it. You come back. Everybody, when you do storms, when it's declared an event, you work for 17 hours minimum. You get 7 hours rest, and it's all time and a half, and you get paid while you're resting. So they said, here's the deal. Everybody come back tomorrow at 7 a.m. except there's going to be 4 of you out of the 10 that will get the first rest. So in other words, everybody else came in at 7. I volunteered to come in at 2. So I was getting paid from 7 a.m. until 2, time and a half, and I got to come in at 2 p.m. on Saturday. So what I did was I stayed up late Friday night, had my friends over, did my thing, went to bed at 1, slept until 11, got up, ate breakfast, then came to work at 2. I got good night's sleep. I told him, I go, all I need is that one good night's sleep, I said. If I can get one good night's sleep, I told the boss, I could work for 48 straight hours. I just need that one solid night, and I'm fresh as a fucking daisy.
Seriously?
So here I am.
Wow. This is like the second half of Extraterrestrial for me. Uninteresting.
Especially the storm duty. Especially the storm duty part.
Yeah. You want to hear about storm duty? My toilet looks like the beaches of Normandy.
I hear Pepto is very effective if you come down with a case of storm duty.
Storm duty. It's
Nothing's
that's
funnier.
all I got from that. That's all I got. Like, he could have said nothing after all that. Storm duty is what I remember.
Storm duty, and it's declared an event.
Stick around. Sorry, just bringing it back to. So, what do you rate this bad boy then? I have a feeling it's like a 9 or higher for Dave.
No, it's not. Extraterrestrial, it's an 8.
Oh, okay. That's realistic.
An 8. Christian gives it 8.5.
Yeah. I'm higher. No, I'm joking.
No.
I'll go second because I want C to shit on it last. I give it a 7. I was probably at an 8 the first time I saw it. This was a second time watch, and it still has its moments. But I think after this watch, like, I'm in no rush to rewatch it again anytime soon.
I'm at a 5.5.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, like I was probably more leaning towards a 5, but I feel like, there's that exploding. It had the shotgun part. I do like Brittany. What is her name? Brittany
Allen.
Brittany Allen. She's great in pretty much everything I've seen her in. And so for that alone, and again, it might be more intriguing to other people as well, as you guys have pointed out. But for me, just a little annoying.
And that's okay too.
And that's okay too. And that's okay too.
Storm duty.
Storm duty.
Yeah. That should be the title of the movie that you came up with when you're at one end and the guy that kills the other truck driver, and then it's 24 hours of nothing. Of just him talking to you. Hey, I'm still in the truck on the other end of the street. This doesn't sound like Fred. Are you Fred? Yeah, I'm Fred.
Well, it's just
really?
one sequence of the film.
I know. It's just one sequence.
The whole movie is going to be
the whole
about
movie
me sitting in this truck. That's just going to be like, a nice 20-minute
storm duty.
Storm duty. Oh,
you were sent there to do a job. That job turned into a duty.
What? You were sent there to do a job. That job was turned into a duty.
I wish it could. That's the only thing I can't do is do a duty here. That's my only issue with being here for 48 hours. I'm about. It's noon now. It's almost noon. It's fucking 22 hours I've been in.
Wow.
And when do you get off?
Hopefully not for a long, long time. I keep telling them I'm in no hurry.
Jesus.
It's double pay, buddy. I get double fucking pay all
I
day.
still want to go home.
Not for this kind of money. This is gonna make Christmas happy. You know what I'm saying? This makes my Christmas fucking a happy Christmas. I'm not stressing about the fucking finances for once. I'm like, yep, boom, thank you. So
I'm looking forward to getting my gift.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's coming. I'll mail it to you.
yeah, great.
It'll
That
be
means you'll have it in 3 years. Has Jim K got his shit yet?
Oh shit. Well, the thing is, I'm the one I spent money on. I'm the one losing money by not going. I'm going to get reimbursed. But the thing is this. I just don't want to go to the post office. It's never open for me.
I should have probably grabbed
I'm
that
not
stuff.
going anywhere.
I should have grabbed that stuff from you for Jim K.
You're right. You should have. Fuck.
Didn't you watch Predator on Jim K? Oh no, that was 4K. That was 4K. No,
Oh my lord.
This is
On that note, yeah, I honestly think, yeah.
It's
Oh my god.
my stomach's gurgling. I think I'm coming down with a case of storm duty. It's time to hightail it out of here. My Pope's nose is prairie dog.
Oh, shit,
well, we made it.
Who would have
Pulled it
thought?
off.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
I probably sound like shit. I probably sound like I'm on a phone or something. But whatever. At least
Better
down
than
here.
usual.
At least it wasn't. Well, it could have been just these two guys. But I said I'm going to really try to stay up and be on the duty. And
I honestly think Christian and I would have done this show in about 40 minutes.
Oh, there's no question. There's absolutely no question. I would have had lunch. I would have taken 2 storm duties. I would have been relaxing for like an hour and a half already if it was just Brandon and I on the show.
We could have done the Christmas show too. If it was just us.
I could have had 2 shows off. Wow.
Perfect.
Damn. I did it for the listeners. See?
We'll be back for our Christmas holiday show. Right? That's the last one for the year. And then we record the year-end show in January with Watson.
Well,
Correct?
yes, we do. We do that. We might do a BS show before the top 21, actually.
The longer I get to watch 2021's, the happier I am. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
because that's the way it is. It goes BS.
Yeah.
It goes BS, big show, regular episode every month now. So there you have it. So we can just BS at the beginning of the year or whatever it is.
Yeah, a nice BS show will be nice, and then year end, and then
all business.
Retirement.
Retirement.
Retirement. Collecting my pension. I'm collecting my pension.
Well, Dave, enjoy your double pay.
Oh, I am. I will. Thank you. And thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for everything. Everything's really cool. Hope everybody has a real nice December. And next show will be the holiday special. So, are we going to do that? Are we going to watch Advent Calendar and Silent Night or one or the other or both or something?
Let's do it because Brandon's already done one of them. So they're on my list to watch. So that gives me a reason to watch them. Let's do it.
B doesn't have to watch anything because he's already watched them and has notes. Right?
I'm going to rewatch Silent Night, but I like that movie. I'm not rewatching Advent Calendar for a third time.
So that's a what do you call it? A spoiler for next show. He likes one, doesn't like the other, but that's okay. It'll still be whatever, filled with holiday cheer and shit like that.
Eggnog.
Yeah.
Anyway,
eggnog and storm duty. All right.
Let's get the fuck out of the headquarters.
All right. Peace out. Love you all. Thanks for bearing with my awful sound on this show, but it is what it is.
Why change now?
See you guys later. Bye. Manchichi. Peace, love.